All right, not quite sure if we're live yet or not. Sometimes it takes a little while to kick in. Hopefully, anyone that is here can hear me. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and most of them are not good. Has to be said. There's going to be a lot of news coming out in the next few days. Hopefully, they'll be positive. But yeah, worrying times if you are a UFC fan. Certainly. Oh. Righty. Just gonna make sure everything's posted on the socials. Yeah, a lot to talk about. I think I'll wait to see if anyone turns up before I start spouting my usual shit. Hey, Weston, how you doing, brother? How are you doing? Good to see you here. Oh, what are you thinking about the news this week? I guess the conventional wisdom would be to start with the Connor stuff, because that card is fucked. Oh, you're fishing, sweet man. That's a dedicated MMA fan right now, right there. I haven't been fishing in years, man. I think the last time I did it, I was a kid. I was like a real little kid. It's fun though. Should probably do it more now that I'm an old man. I've heard it's a very relaxing experience. Let me see what captions I've got set up. Yeah, good to have you here, though, man. I appreciate you turning up. Yeah, do you know what? That is not a terrible idea. This is the thing now, because it's whoever they put him up against. It's not really a worthy main event, is it? Like, so it feels like they're gonna have to add another fight to the card. To be honest, Jay, I already thought the 303 card was very, very mid. Anyway, I hate using that word mid, but I thought, especially for an international fight week card, they tend to do that with Connor cards anyway. They just kind of, you know, understack the rest of it because they know that he's probably going to carry things by himself, and also they don't want it to go overboard, so they have to pay him too much. It must be a very weird situation with them. Do you know what? Yeah, they might be forced to do that. They may be forced to do that. It might be a thing where things are so messed up. I mean, fortunately, they've still got kind of 6 weeks to kind of sort things out. I watched the Lucas Tracy video before I saw this one, before I was due to come on live, and he mentioned that he wanted he wanted Alex Pereira to fight Ankalaev. There's no way Ankalaev's taking that fight, and to be honest, it's still not. I guess it's kind of big enough at short notice, but it's not great either. So they're in real trouble. If this fight actually falls through, there's going to be a lot of scrambling to do. Fortunately, it's not like the week before, because they would have been really fucked. But they've got some time to fix it up. I think I do agree with Lucas Tracy to an extent that they should find Chandler a replacement. 165 wouldn't be too bad. That would create some hype. And making it for the 165 would be a really good way of, like, all right, it becomes worth something, because then it feels significant to the whole organization. So that could be a nice curveball they could throw in. They probably should have made the Connor and Chandler fight for the 165 belt to begin with. And that's something that we've been calling for the longest of times. But obviously they didn't, and it's a bit unfortunate that they didn't, but still not too late. 6 weeks out. But then, obviously it would require a shift for the rest of it. Do you then make welterweight 175? And then that becomes a whole thing. I don't think they'd probably do that. But I think it's very unlikely they do it because Dana's very, very stubborn. But if I was him, I would definitely be considering that. And the Charles fight's probably good. He's not really one who takes short notice fights that often. So I'd be surprised if they throw him in. But yeah, there's definitely some problems here. Like I said, it's 6 weeks out. There's time to fix it, but we need like a definitive answer in terms of, is he definitely out or not? All signs are pointing to the fact that he is. It seems like I don't know why they haven't just come out and said it yet. It's been a good 24 hours since they obviously announced that he wasn't going to be at the presser and the presser was going to be cancelled. So yeah, he probably would do it for the belt. It's not a bad shout. I think if and obviously with him having steamrolled through Chandler before, it would not be a bad thing to take. It would not be a bad opportunity to take. And I think Chandler is probably at this point where he'd take anyone now. I think if they offered him anyone at this point, he would just be like, fuck it, because he's been gone for so long. And I think it's weird because, like I said, I've been saying for years that we're not going to see McGregor again. I didn't think it would happen like this. I really didn't. But it's looking like a good prediction right now. It really is. There's probably more going on to this that meets the eye, but it would suggest that with everything that's happened, it's a freak injury that's happened, and that's where we're at with it. But like I said, man, I didn't really think it was that good a card to begin with. That's the thing. It would still be, personally, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. Like I wouldn't. And obviously with Charles coming off a loss quite recently as well, he's looking less well, he never looked invincible, but he looked as close to outside of fighting Makhachev. So obviously losing to Arman has taken a little bit more of the shine off him. But yeah, I don't know. It's a great shout. I would definitely not mind seeing that. And I don't think a lot of people would argue with that either. I think if they put I think if they made that, I don't think a lot of people would complain, for sure. It's definitely not a bad suggestion. I'd definitely go for it. Whether they do it or not remains to be seen. But we just need a definitive, he's out, this is the reason, and then we can take the news on from there. Because it seems like the longer they leave, well, I assume that the reason why they haven't said anything is maybe there's a glimmer of hope that he can recover in time. Maybe he's getting, there's so much, I don't want to throw too much like speculation out there, because honestly, a lot of people have come out claiming that they know something, Jake Paul included, little bellend. He had to get his 2 cents in. But there's very little actual hard, we don't know what's going on. We have no idea. So I think the sooner they get that out of the way, but I'm assuming they're either hoping that there's a chance he can still appear on the card, or they're in scramble mode right now, trying to find a main event to replace it. I would assume that they're going down the route that Lucas Tracy suggested, and they're doing like a they're looking for a replacement opponent for Charles, and they're looking for an entirely new event, because that's the direction that I would go in. Yeah, that could possibly be it. But then the way they've gone about it is kind of just bizarre. It's really bizarre. And it's the actions that they're taking. Like they're canceling. The biggest sign for me is not even the press conference is obviously a big one, but the fact that they're stopping people from pre-buying the event now is a very big telling thing to me as well. The fact that you can't, they've suspended pay-per-view sales is very telling to me as well. Because obviously they know there's going to be a massive backlash from fans, because if you can't get a replacement for Conor on that card, or Conor's out the card, which is what we're all assuming at this point, that card is fucked. There is nothing main event worthy on that card. And everyone's been fighting recently, so it's like it's very difficult to get a big name in there. You're gonna have to hope that somebody like a Alex Pereira steps up. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Yuri's like, fuck it, let's just do it. Knowing that Ankalaev's lurking like a little creep in the background, it wouldn't surprise me if Yuri took the fight on short notice. He seems like that kind of guy. And Alex is certainly somebody who would, for the right amount of money, I don't even think it would have to be that much money either. I think like for the right circumstances, he would do it as well, because he's seeing the game very smartly. He's obviously of a certain age now, and he's just thinking, I want to get as many legacy fights as I can, and just while I'm healthy, just keep it moving. If I'm healthy, I'll just get in there and fight, because he believes in himself that much. Which will bring me on to the pound for pound conversation a little bit later. I'm looking forward to talking about that one as well. But yeah, it's a mess, and this is the price you pay for overstacking certain cards and not having contingency plans in place, because it feels like they're scrambling right now. Yeah, I agree. I think because we know that Ankalaev is not going to take the fight. We know. I got into a big like beef on Twitter with people for saying that Ankalaev is really, really entitled, and that he expects Alex to kind of turn up when and where he chooses, which is a very bizarre way for somebody who's had a draw and a win against somebody who's not even a contender, and then drew and cried about it, you know, live for everybody to laugh at. So for him to think he can start calling shots is fucking hilarious. So I don't think Ankalaev take. I was surprised that Tracy said that of all five. I thought he was going to come up with something. You know, he is a bit of a hype man, but I was thinking he was going to come out with something better than, oh, it should be Yuri and Ankalaev. There's no fucking way that fight happens this early. I know that Alex would take it, but I don't think Ankalaev would take it. I don't even. It's not even that I don't think. I know he wouldn't take it. Like, he's talking about the end of the year, and you know he fought in January. It's very interesting though that he was willing to have a very quick turnaround against Johnny Walker, but when it comes to Pereira, he's like, "Nah, I need 10 months." It's interesting. It's interesting how that door doesn't swing both ways, you know. But that fight definitely is not happening. Yuri's definitely crazy enough to take it, but then it has the whole feeling again of like, it's a potentially good fight that is wasted. I still think that's potentially a good fight. A lot of people don't agree with that. They don't want to see Yuri get in there again. But he beat Rakic. I think he deserves a shot at some point. So I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I'd rather see it booked further down the line. It's just a shame. This whole thing is just sad. But yeah, I do like your idea. I think the 165, that would definitely drum up some interest. More than drum up some interest. I think it would be huge if they went in that direction. And they're probably, I guarantee you, it's come across the table. They're thinking about it. They must be, because it's like you said, they need something instantly. When they announce the news that Conor McGregor's out, and they are going to announce it, it's coming. So it just comes down to the point now of, are they going to have something that's going to keep people from losing their shit? Because I imagine the amount of people that spent money, thousands and thousands, buying tickets for that event, and looking at it now, whoever bought money for that, whoever bought tickets for that event and spent that amount of money, it was to see Conor McGregor. And I'm not even a Conor McGregor guy anymore. But if you look at the rest of the cards, there's nothing. I mean, you've got Ian Gary and MVP, which is a good fight, but tickets had long been sold out before that fight was added to the card. I mean, you've got fucking Mero Bueno Silva and Chess on the main card, which is just bananas to me. Like, that's how badly stacked this card is. It's just, and like I said, it's International Fight Week. Like, this is another miss. Like, this has been a year of missteps for the UFC, and they're getting exactly what they deserve. They are getting exactly what they deserve for not preparing properly, and for, yeah, just like I said, not having a contingency plan. It's a shame. It's really a shame. But yeah, that card's fucked. I wouldn't be surprised if they're obviously not going to cancel it because it's an international fight week card, but they must be losing their shit right now. They must be losing their shit. They must be calling everyone under the sun begging, begging. And it's funny as well because like there's UFC 304 is stacked to the rafters. There are so many good fights on that card. And if they just moved one of those fights to UFC 303, like if they put Leon Edwards and Bilal, I know they want him for the Manchester card, but if they just put him alongside Connor, they could have just about squeaked through with that because people want to see that. I think enough people want to see that fight, or they want that fight to be over for it to have salvaged it. So yeah, I don't know. Max is not a bad shout either. I reckon Max would jump in there with him. They could do that's another option. Maybe they could do a BMF fight. But for the word is there that they're apparently the issue that I have with that fight is that Chandler's obviously been bulking up for 170, and Max has obviously spent like how much time he spent bulking up to get to 155. Where would you do the fight? Like, are you going to ask Chandler to cut down to 165? It would have to be a catch weight. I mean, I know the BMF has that about it where you can just do they can agree at a weight, but that's another one that wouldn't be. Is it main event worthy though? And the reason why I say that, like, I think Max could be on a main event. Honestly, Chandler does not belong main event in a numbered card in general, let alone one on fight week. And I'm not sure if even Holloway is big enough to drag that fight into being enough. So I think if they did that, they'd have to add another fight to the card still. I still think they're faced with that issue. I still think that would be a problem. But they are making some fucking frantic phone calls right now. They are making some frantic phone calls. And they ain't going to pay Max 8 million. I reckon he'd do it for like 3. I reckon he'd do it for 2 or 3. And I think he'd beat Chandler. But again, it's just that weight thing. Because again, he's going to have to come up from one. Like I said, he's been conditioning himself for 155. I don't think Chandler is going to be able to get to 155 in 6 weeks by the way that he's been looking. You know, he's looking jacked. He's looking like he's been putting the work in to be a strong 170 pounder. There's talk that another name that was mentioned was Shavkat. I didn't realize he was going to be back that early, but again, Shavkat and Chandler, like that would be the weirdest fight. But again, it's not a main event of a numbered card worthy. The more and more I think about it, I think you're right. I think they've got to do something. Either they get somebody to like a champion to come in and fight at short notice, or they got to do something wild and do the 165 thing. I think you might have a point. I think that might be the way. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I got nothing as well. This is what's so crazy about it. And we've had this happen before where fights have fallen out 4 weeks before and things have been salvaged. And this is still 6.5 weeks away. 6.5 weeks out. And we're just like, we've got nothing, man. It's all scraps. It's like, oh, you know, like it's all either like absurd notions that we're throwing out that definitely aren't going to happen, or it's like, I don't know, it's like hoping and praying that somebody just goes, all right, I'll take the money and put me in there with whoever. It's that kind of thing. I think Alex can be depended on for sure. And I don't think Yuri's a bad shout to say, yeah, but again, it's not, we've seen that fight already. This is all on them. They have completely fucked this up. They fucked this whole year up, to be honest. I'm not saying there haven't been good cards, good moments. There have been some amazing moments this year, but that just happens in the moment. If it came down to the way that they've planned things and the way that they've handled things, it's been a diabolical year. It really has. And we've actually got a video coming out tomorrow talking about how boxing is kind of, if they've not closed the gap, then or if they've not overtaken, then they've closed the gap, which you wouldn't have been able to even come close to saying 3 months ago. So it shows where things are. I want Jamal to win because of what he will say on the post-fight interview. You mean you want Jamal to step in at 303? Is that? Oh yeah, obviously Jamal's already on the card. They could elevate him to something maybe, or mess around with that, because obviously Jamal and Allberg it's a good fight, but again, it's like it's just about main card worthy. But I am looking forward to seeing what he would say as well. The thing is, Yuri did get smoked by Pereira to an extent, but he did win the first round. And I always say to myself, like, oh, if he hadn't been so careless and gone in and got clipped, but that is unfortunately that is who Yuri is. You can never count on him to learn from those kind of things. But he is a man that's lost what? He lost 1 in 16 or something, and he was coming back from a very, very long. I mean, the injury he had was serious. It was a serious, serious injury. There was even talk when he ripped that shoulder apart, he wasn't going to come back. That was the narrative that first came out. Like it was that bad an injury. So, yeah, man, I don't know. It's looking pretty peaky right now. It's looking pretty. There's still, like I said, there's fun fights on the card that will still. I do think it will be a good card. Just because I don't think it's a stacked card doesn't mean I don't think it's an unfair card. To be like bulletproof, I think they've given Ankalaev his chance. I genuinely do. I think I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, and there's a video that I made about this as well. They offered him 300, which obviously he couldn't do. We can't count that because of Ramadan. But I mean, Alex has come out and said that he'd fight him at 304, and he went quiet. And then a few weeks later, he said, "Oh, I'll fight him in Abu Dhabi at the end of the year." And Alex is like, "Fuck you, man! I'm the champion. Like, I want to fight in March. I want to fight in August. Like, he should, with the wins that he's got and the fact that he's the champion, he should be dictating when he's fighting." I mean, Israel Adesanya did it for years. I don't think that they're turning down the Ankalaev thing. I think he's fucking himself out of it by saying, "Oh, I'm only fighting at this time and this place." You know what I mean? I don't think he's been refused. I genuinely don't. Like, the general consensus is that he should get the matchup. And a lot of people are saying, well, like I said this on Twitter, and everyone was like, well, where's the evidence that it happened? And when do we ever get evidence of a fight that hasn't been booked yet or an offer? We don't. But one thing that I can say is that Alex has come out on several occasions and said, I'll fight him then. And he's also said, oh, he turned down the fight for here. And you can't always take somebody at their word, but there are certainly some fighters you can take at their word more than others. And for me, like Alex Pereira is somebody who seems like I've said it in tweets, I've said it in videos. He seems like a straight shooter. He doesn't seem like a bullshitter to me. Like, I mean, this is the same guy who, when everyone was dogging on Adesanya for doing the dropping dead thing in front of his son, he was like, nah, man, I'm fine with it. I would have done the same thing. Like, I tend to trust somebody who has that kind of attitude. And if he says that he offered Ankalaev the fight, or that the fight was offered and he didn't take it, I'm inclined to believe him, to be honest. That's where I am with it. But I do agree with you that, like, Ankalaev deserves I think Ankalaev deserves the shot regardless. Like, I mean, I wasn't the draw with Yan, I thought was a draw. Like, or it was a close fight. Maybe he edged it. But he should have got DQ'd against Walker. That knee to the face was agreed, and he fucked him up with that knee. He should have got DQ'd. And we've seen fighters get DQ'd for less. And then he turns around in 2 months to fight him again. All right, he beat him, but Walker's terrible. Like, he's been chinned by everyone. So you get a title shot off that. It's a bit weird. Whereas Yuri then goes and beats Rakic. How do I see that fight going if it ever happens? It's a tricky one. I'm a big Alex fan, a massive Alex fan. It's a tough one. I would edge him because I just think the wave that he's riding, he's built into that 205 frame. I think he's a much better striker than Ankalaev. But he has shown weaknesses in getting taken down and controlled on the ground. I mean, it happened against Yan. And it has happened earlier on in his career. He's probably working on it and developing a ground game, but how much can you? I mean, how long has he been in MMA? 3-4 years. I would probably, if I had to put it into like percentage wise, I'd probably go 60-40 or 60-40 in favor of Pereira. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ankalaev got it done, because as much of a boring, whiny little bitch I think he is, he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, and stylistically, it's probably the most challenging fight that Alex is going to potentially have. That's my view of it. Like, so I'd say 60-40. Yeah, a push I could probably go 55-45. Probably I'll see. You got it by saying, "Oh wait, I got it." You got a fish, or are we talking about something else? Do you get a good catch? Man, that must be exhilarating. I'm not even taking the piss. I imagine that would be exhilarating. Alex Pereira versus Anthony Smith. Oh, you've got it, got it. Why not? Why not? What they should do is they should have Alex Pereira do like a handicap match against Anthony Smith and like a partner of his choosing. That would probably be more fair, I would imagine. Thing is, yeah, I actually like. I know that a lot of people rip the piss out of Anthony Smith. I kind of like him, you know. I kind of like him. T. Brooks sick, man. You've inspired me, man. I might have to get out. I might have to get out onto the lake at some point and get there and get. Maybe you can. Maybe we can talk in. We can talk sometime, and you can recommend a good fishing rod to me because I don't know shit. I imagine those first two trips are going to be very, very fruitless or fishless. More to the point, can imagine that's it going down like that. Anthony Smith. Do you know how things might get so desperate? You know, you never know. You never know. You never know. Or Antoine might get his wish, and it might be it might end up being like maybe they unsuspend Khalil Roundtree. I'd hate that. This is the thing. If they hadn't booked Allberg and if Allberg and Hill weren't on this card, they might have gone with Allberg, which sounds crazy. But like I said, there's desperation going on right now. I can almost feel them freaking out across the pond. Like they're going crazy. I'm under a little bit of stress myself because UFC 304 tickets go on sale tomorrow, and I'm like, I know I've never bought UFC tickets before. Well, in this part of the world, so I know it's going to be a stressful experience and I'm going to have to end up paying up the nose to some scalper because I am so intent on going to that card. There's too many people on it that I want to see, so I've got pre-day stress about that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, but yeah, man, I kind of like Anthony Smith. I don't think he's a great fighter or anything. I'll always love Anthony Smith for well, I'll love him and loathe him for the same reason. Like him not taking the way out against John Jones goes down as the most brave and retarded things I've ever seen. If I was Anthony Smith, I would have played foul and got my belt and got my pay-per-view points the next fight, and then that's exactly what I would have done. I don't care what people think about that. Buy an ugly stick rod, cheap, durable, and they cast great. Sweet. Ugly stick rod. I'll remember that. By the way, Weston, I watched that mixed Molly Whoppery video you recommended to me. Amazing. I had a train ride to London like a week ago. And it was about an hour long, and boy, that got me. I was almost tempted to watch it twice. It was a great video. Great video. Very entertaining. I got like little goosebumps watching it. And I think it was really good that they focused on Max Holloway in particular. Or he focused on, that's him saying they. He focused on Max Holloway in particular. And it actually inspired me to make a video of my own that we haven't recorded yet. But yeah, that will be coming up soon. Kind of Max Holloway said something very interesting, or they quoted Max Holloway saying something in that video that was very interesting about like like how the old school fighters are dying out. The old just fuck the talking, let's just go in there and bang type fighters. And it made me think, do I agree with what he's saying or not? So we're going to make a video about that at some point. But yeah, I'll definitely take that rod recommendation because I've got to get another hobby. I'm getting to the age where it's like golf or fishing, and I ain't walking around all day. with a stick and a little ball. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, golf ain't really for me, so I might have to go down the fishing route for sure. Yeah. So next thing I wanted to kind of bring up, I mean, we can go back to this topic at some point. Um I wanted to talk about Dana White's comments after the event. I don't know what you guys think about this, the pound for pound discussion. I mean, from what I've seen, like 99% of people, in fact, I haven't seen one person come out and say John Jones is pound for pound number one. I don't think anyone's got behind that. Do you know what? Yeah, can I see? Yeah, he's Molly Whoppery is great for that. Like I still go back and watch some of his some of his earlier stuff. Like he had one. Let me try and think of the ones that he did that were really great. The one he did on John Jones was really great. Dana's tweaking out right now. Guru's vid on Dana was good. Has he done a video on? I don't really watch Guru that much now. You know, I've noticed as well. Yeah, Guru's getting some abuse on Twitter lately, and a lot of people are getting behind it, which I think is strange. He's being called a casual, which I think is so fucking dumb. I mean, I don't watch the guy that much anymore, not because I don't think you know the dude's amazing, because I do enjoy his content, but there's just not enough time in the day, and I tend to click on the odd thing that's interesting to me personally. But yeah, man, he's getting both. But I think it might have to do with him out in John Jones. I was talking to Antoine about this earlier. I think him calling out John Jones has pissed off people in the wrong places, maybe, and he might be getting some attacks. You know, I would say be careful who you insult, but I'm always inclined to talk a lot of shit as well. Yeah. But the thing is though, yeah, I actually this is gonna annoy some people. Like, I actually don't think that Islam should be pound for pound number one either. And I know some people are gonna be like, what the fuck, who is it then? For me, like, if you're to be pound for pound number one, there's a few things that you have to, there's three criteria that I consider when I think about the pound for pound number one. I think about who it is you're fighting, how active you are, and if you're operating in more than, or potentially operating in more than one division, or have done that, because that's what pound for pound is for me. Like, that's why Volk for me remained above Islam, even though he lost the first fight. Because it's like, nah, he went up and he fucked with you. And that's why, and again, a lot of people are going to rip my balls off of this and shit down my neck. But I think Alex Pereira is pound for pound number one right now. Like, if you think about who he's beaten in the last 12 months, he's beaten Yan, he's beaten Yeri, and he's beaten Hill in 12 months at a different weight class. And it's the way that he's done it as well. Like, he managed to survive Yan's wrestling. He obviously starched out Yeri, who hasn't lost in 20 fights or whatever it is. And then he blasts Hill in less than a round. Again, he's active. He's starching people out, and he's doing it, again, having come off being middleweight champ and beating Izzy. I know he got knocked out, but he was winning that fight up until the point he got smashed out. And obviously, great performance by Izzy, great finish. But I think you're right. I think, like, Islam beating Charles is fine, but like, he's beaten a featherweight in a 5-rounder that was very, very close. Could have gone either way. A lot of people thought Volk won that. And then obviously he starched Volk, but Volk was jumping off the couch. I mean, he looked like he hadn't been training jumping in there. He clearly, his heart won over his head in that occasion, and he jumped in there when he shouldn't have. And now he's gone against Poirier, who everyone was expecting him to absolutely destroy, or most people were. And he makes hard work of it. I mean, I think he won the fight fairly clearly, but it was much more difficult than it could or should have been. And Jones, for me, isn't even in the conversation of pound for pound number one right now. Like, he's beaten Cyril. Do I think John Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time? 100%. He's second on my GOAT list, but he's fought once in 3.5 years. And the guy's just got so many asterisks next to his name. I mean, they're well documented. I don't need to repeat them here, but like, I mean, I don't know if I subscribe to the whole narrative that like Dana, that he has dirt on Dana and all this. But I don't know what the fuck that's all about. That sounds completely stupid to me. Um, but nah, man, I just think Dana's trying to hype up the fight with, because I think he knows. I think it's just as simple as Dana knows that nobody really gives a fuck about the fight with Miocic, and he's trying to elevate that fight. I think that's all he's trying to do. I don't think there's much more to it than that. Yeah, the thing is though, yeah, I think even if Pereira beat Ankalaev and starched him, I don't think they push him up to number one. And Alex is he's a big star now. Like he's big in the game. So like, I think he should be pound for pound number one now, in my opinion. But again, it's a very subjective thing. You know, it's like it depends on what you value. Like some people see being undefeated for a certain amount of time, or having had certain amount of defenses or whatever, as the most important thing. For me, it's those three things. It's who you fought, how often you fought, and how you've beat them. And again, the thing that is the cherry on the Sunday, so to speak, is if you've done big things in two different weight classes. And for me, the way that Alex has done it in such a short space of time, for me, is always going to be so impressive. I don't think we're ever going to see that happen again, where somebody comes into MMA and within 3 years they win two weights, they win two weight world championships, and they do it in the fashion that he's done it in. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. And I think that's kind of being downplayed, because you get a lot of the reason why I think Alex is not as popular as he is because like Izzy fans in particular are very noisy and very insufferable, and they're very loud. Again, that's perfectly fair. That's perfectly fair. Like I don't disagree with that, but then you can make that same claim about anyone. Again, you've kind of made the same, because like I'm assuming that you have, by what you've said, you have Jones above Makhachev, for example, is what you essentially said. You can't really have Jones there. I mean, Jones's accomplishments in the last 3 years don't stack anywhere near they don't stack anywhere near what Alex has done in the last 3 years. They just don't. And for me, they don't stack against what Makhachev has done in the last 3 years either. So it's a difficult. But again, I'm not shitting on you for having that opinion, because it's what you value. Like I think some people see pound for pound as it doesn't matter what you've done or who you fought. If you're active and you're the best fighter, you should be pound for pound number one. And you can make an argument that John Jones is still the best fighter. You can still make that argument. And I think that's where because the criteria for pound is so vague, it doesn't make sense half the time. I don't think the UFC really, probably amongst the top brass, they all have different opinions of what it should be, and they're not the ones that make the decision. Apparently, it's all like media members, and I don't know exactly how it works, but apparently there's some kind of voting thing that goes on, and that's how it's kind of dictated. For me, the pound for pound thing's kind of stupid anyway. I think it means more to the fighters than it does to most of the general public, because I personally don't think it means that much. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but like when you think about all the John Jones has been amazing for the organization. Like he really has. He's been incredible. And his accomplishments are unbelievable. But he's also caused a lot of trouble for the UFC as well. And again, they've all been well documented. You know, the drug use, the PED stuff, the incident with the pregnant lady, the gun charges, the hitting his wife, do you know what I mean? It's got like, I don't know if I mentioned the moving of the events thing. Them being inactive, them being very, very difficult to negotiate with, ducking people as well, very clearly. There's loads of asterisks on John Jones's records that just, the guy's a prick as well. He's just an asshole. He is. And I love John Jones. You can, everyone loves I was about to say everyone loves a bad boy, but I don't want to get clipped. I don't want to add that to my list of homoerotic statements that I've made on this channel. So I guess I've said it now, so fuck it. But yeah, I just think that again, it depends on what you see as pound for pound. Um, there's no one's ever going to agree fully on it. Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, he blatantly ducked Ngannou. Maybe it was for the money thing because if I was going to get in there with somebody like the way he was looking, I'd be wanting a lot of money to do that if I was John Jones, and they probably were just like, "Nah, mate, we're way off that. We're way off that." I don't even know how much he got paid to fight Gon in the end. I imagine it was considerably less than he was asking for to fight Ngannou. I'd imagine, but yeah. For me, who's your so Bulletproof? Who's your great name by the way? Bulletproof Boulevard. I love that. Who's your? I know again, it's another stupid conversation because I hate goat conversations as well. But I'm assuming John Jones would be your greatest of all time. I'm assuming based on how you're talking. I can't pin down what fan base you belong to because usually when you talk to somebody, it's very very clearly when when they come out as like they're in favor of Dagestani fighters or they're in favor of like they're a Izzy guy or it kind of becomes very very clear because there's very MMA is very clicky amongst the fan bases. It's very very clicky. So you can usually tell what fan base people belong to. It's very hard to tell with you. You seem to have some very reasoned opinions or coming at me with some very reasoned opinions. So like I do have my allegiances and I have people that I hate like or dislike more than others. But I usually like the reasons I usually dislike people are they vary. They really vary. Um like I really dislike Bilal, for example. Juliana Pena, can't stand her. I'm not the biggest Izzy fan. I've talked a lot of shit about him over the over the years. But again, even if I dislike somebody's personality, I can still respect them as a fighter. Or I can, like for example, I think Bilal is boring as fuck, but I think he's very effective. So I respect that about him. I respect that he's hard to beat. I don't see MMA in the same way that people do or that a lot of people do because I try to think of it as what would I do in that situation. So when you look at Sean Strickland, for example, um, tip tapping his way to a decision against Paulo Costa, I'm thinking to myself, if I was in that situation and I'm able to just front teep my way through the entire fight and he's not really touching me apart from a few leg kicks, and I get to see out the evening with a W on my record, another 250K in the bank plus whatever he got, probably a little bit more than that as an ex-champion. I'm doing that all day long. I don't care if you're falling asleep in the crowd. Like I favor winning over I would favor winning over entertaining as a fighter. For me, the entertaining would come as all right. If the guy I'm across from me is gonna throw it down, then yeah, we go in it. But if I can get away with doing the bare minimum to win a fight and get out of there unscathed, fuck yeah, I'm taking it. I'm taking it all day long, and I can respect a fighter for doing it, unless it's a fighter that I hate, and then I get on them straight away and abuse them for it. So I am a biased piece of shit. I've just figured that out. Thanks for exposing me, or laying the breadcrumbs for me to expose myself. But nah, man. As I said, pound for pound is stupid. Um, they should have never even. And the pound for pound female list is even dumber. It's like they should have never. Whoever came up with that idea. I don't even want to go in on women's MMA right now. It seems unnecessary. I don't even want to go there. I take any opportunity to just to rip on them when I can. But yeah, pound for pound number one, I think should be Alex Pereira for the reasons that I've stated. If you're just jumping in now and you're like, what did he say? I gave my reasons for it. I think they were good, valid reasons, like solid reasons for it. But definitely Dana is like, I don't think John Jones has anything on him. Or it could like there's another side of it. It could be a thing that like John Jones is gonna come out at some point. Like we could be not too far away from that. And Dana's like, ooh, I could have like a, like In this day and age, when you've got the whole woke movement and everything, having a gay icon for the UFC, you get behind that man in more ways than one. Eh? Yeah. I don't think it's because he has dirt on Dana. I don't think Dana cares about it. Dana doesn't seem like the blackmail kind of guy. I don't see blackmail working on him. You know, he's that he. If I had a list of people that would be the worst person to do that to, and he's shown it in the past. You know, I don't see it being that. I just think it's a case of either it's the gay thing, and he's getting in early, getting his icon ready, or he just wants the fight between him and Miocic to mean more than because the way that it's trending right now. Yeah, the way that it's trending right now, nobody cares about that fight whatsoever. Alex is not staying in 205 for that long, which sucks. It all depends. It all depends. The thing is, I was saying the entire time that I think I know you think that Ankalaev should get the title fight now, but if he's not taking it, then or if he's not taking it when you're offering it, then fuck him. That's honestly my opinion of it. Like I said, as soon as Alex beat Hill, I was like, nah, man, you should go get that third belt. Like there's no opportunity. Imagine if he did it. Imagine if he fought Tom and got a third, like he might be elevated into GOAT conversation. The first person to win belts at 3 weight classes, 2-time Glory kickboxing champion as well, and to do it in a short amount of space of time that he does, and beating somebody like Tom Aspinall as well. Fuck me, man. We're talking about a legacy that might never be matched. The reward is way bigger. The reward way outweighs the risk, or however they say it. The risk way outweighs the reward, or the vice versa. The reward way outweighs the risk. If he loses, everyone will probably expect that he would lose. If he fights Tom Aspinall, everyone's going to be, yeah, man, he's Tom Aspinall probably going to be the favorite. The way that people are talking about him now. But what if you win? And he could. I don't think he would. I think Tom would beat him, but he could. When you've got a left hand like that and a skill set like that, you can beat anyone on any given day. Yeah, the defending the belt 3 times thing is definitely there, but that's the fucked up thing, because light heavyweight is awful. Light heavyweight is an awful division. The only person he's got left is Ankalaev. And if Ankalaev is saying, I'm not fighting until November, and you want to fight now, man, he's not going to get the Tom. Obviously, Tom's fighting at 304. But like I said, prior to him or post him winning against Hill, I was all over that fight. When there was talk that they were going to do it at UFC 300 even, I was like, let's go. Let's go. But now that he's beaten Hill, it's become an even bigger thing. Ankalaev is going to get a title shot. He's going to get a title shot. It's probably going to come later than he wished for. A lot later than he wished for, but he's going to get it. He's going to get it at some point. But he might end up having to wait until next year or having to fight again, because he's going about it in the dumbest way. In the dumbest way possible. When they offer you the fight, you take it. Especially if it's down the line, because you never know if you're going to get the opportunity again. And Ankalaev has been given notice from what I understand. But again, it's all hearsay, speculation. I mean, Alex is saying he'll fight in August. Why not take it? August is 2.5 months away. That's enough time for a full training camp. If he doesn't take it, I'll be like, nah, this guy's definitely stupid. No, not 304. 304 is already stacked to the rafters. The reason why I brought up 304 is because Tom's fighting at 304. So if there was any suggestion that Alex and Tom could fight before then, it's obviously out the window. That would have been a perfect one to do for International Fight Week. I know they want to have Tom in England, but International Fight Week is huge. And they've already got Leon. They've already got Alan on the card. We've already got Molly McCann, another person I hate, by the way. I fucking hate that bin dipper. Yeah, no, they have a fight night, I think, in Abu Dhabi in August as well. I believe. I think it's at the start of August. And I know that it's a fight night card, but it's in Abu Dhabi. It's in Abu Dhabi. And that's what Ankalaev's, but that's the thing, that's what Ankalaev's asking for. It's unrealistic. He's come out and said, I want to fight in Abu Dhabi. I want my title shot in Abu Dhabi in this month. Who the fuck do you think you are, bro? Doesn't work like that. When you're the challenger, you get told when you're going to fight. And you either take it or you don't. You know? People have been slated. Like, the same thing happened to Dricus. Like, but the difference was Dricus was injured when he turned down the Adesanya fight. And he got roasted for that. For not taking it 6 weeks after he just had a fucking, it wasn't a war per se, but, I'm sure he took some damage against Whitaker. The same narrative was there. And you're telling me Ankalaev can't take the fight with 2.5 months notice. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, the thing is, yeah, things do get legs. Like, sometimes things were never on the table and they get legs. But I honestly believe that Ankalaev has been in conversations with the UFC about fighting for the title. He must have been. Because he's the only one left in the division. He's the only one. Once Alex beats him, he's basically clocked lightweight. Unless Allberg absolutely starches out Hill. And then we've got a whole new conversation to have. Light heavyweight is dead. It's a shit division. Only the top 5 are decent. And now Rakic has been dumped out of it. So it's really like, and Hill's going to have to come back in a big way. You've basically got, and Yan's injured until next year, and he's fucking ancient. So who else is there? The division's cooked. It's cooked. So what can you do? It's fucked. Like, like, Ankalaev will get the fight. It's just a question of when. I can see him doing the problem for Ankalaev, and this is why I think he should have taken the fight, or should take the fight in August, is because if Alex fights somebody else in the meantime, say he fights Yuri again and loses, they're going to do the rematch. And then Ankalaev gets pushed back again. This is why you have to take opportunities when they're given to you. Strickland laid the blueprint for that. He went from losing to Cannonier at the end of the year to fighting 2 times and getting the Izzy fight by the middle of the following year, just because he was like, fuck it, I'll take the risk. Guys that sit on dick and do nothing get what's coming to them. And Ankalaev is the man for that. He's the man for that. He's saying he wants to fight, and he has said this. He wants to fight in September. I think it was October, November he's talking about. You fought in January, bro. Yeah. Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, for some reason, I get a lot of lurkers in my chat. People that just jump in and listen, and they're probably jerking off, which I don't know why I said that. Just made it uncomfortable now. Anyway, like I said, I'm not somebody who does live streams that often, so the fact that I've got 2 active people in here talking is great. I'm grateful for it. It was literally a spur of the moment thing today. Again, I was talking with my partner in crime over at Making the Walk. We were recording some videos yesterday, and I'm like, you know what, man? I need to go live more. I need to do the Dougie approach to YouTube and just jump on and just see who's interested in having a chat. Because as you know from my videos and having seen me go live before, I never shut the fuck up. So there was a little bit of like like when we did the 302 card. That card was so boring. I found myself sitting there for minutes on end with my tongue open, unsure what the hell to say. A horrible card. Yuri and Jamar should be for the number 1 contender. Bro, I don't know why that fight didn't get made. I don't know why that fight couldn't get made. They have history. They were supposed to fight before. And Like I said, the two promos they did with the I'm coming promo and then the that's what she said follow up was great. You could ride on that. And it was a very clear they both lost to the same man. It was clear as crystal to make that fight. And then because we like I said again, we made a video about this where I basically slated them giving Khalil Roundtree Hill. And look at where we are. He's off. Who do I have in Jamal versus Yeri? Boy, if they're both 100% healthy, I would go with Hill. And it's just because of Yeri and the Tism. Like I love Yeri. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch, but he's really dumb. He's really dumb and he makes mistakes. And I think like the Hill that we got against Glover, I would have picked him to beat Alex because I picked Hill in that fight. I had the thing of Hill's going to be 100% healthy. He's going to go in there and beat Alex. And Alex is another fighter that I really respect. I'm saying he should be pound for pound number one right now. But no, I think like a fully healthy Hill. I think he would beat Yeri just because Yeri would make a mistake and he'd get clapped. I think Hill is way better than a lot of people give him credit for. And it's because, again, he's such a whiny bitch. And I still like his personality. He couldn't have been at 100%. The guy ruptured his Achilles. That's usually 9 months of no training. Before you even think about. I know that there's been advancements in how they deal with that injury and whatnot. But there's no way you should be coming in against a guy like that who's been active in Pereira, who had 2 fights in the meantime. There's no way. Yeah, of course. But the thing is, I respect that because again, Hill's thinking about it the same way. Biggest card. It was being billed as the biggest card of all time and being built to be that way. $1.8 million to Hill is huge. That's life-changing money for a guy. For most people, that's life-changing money. So I get why he took it. I'm not even saying you're dumb for taking it. Because you could have turned it down and then he doesn't get a shot again because again, things don't pan out. Like how long has Ankalaev been like fucking crying for a title shot? Forever. Still ain't got it. I keep going back to Ankalaev. I sound like I hate the guy now. I don't. I dislike him a little bit. But like, no, I respect what Hill did getting in there at 300. I would have done the same thing. And I said as much when he took the fight. I'm like, it's not ideal circumstances, but it's a massive card. You're getting paid a lot of money. And he believed he could win. He genuinely did. He genuinely thought he could win. And there, you could say he was a little bit unlucky. I personally think that there was no issues with the ref or with I think he just got caught and, it is what it is. But I think Hill will make a comeback. But I've got to say, I'm concerned about this fight with Ulberg. I am concerned about this fight with Ulberg. That's a dangerous fight to take. So, but then, like I said, if Ulberg wins, then you can push him to the stars as well. So there's that. The thing with Ankalaev is it's not just up to the fighters; it's in the hands of the UFC. At the end of that, they have to plan that. Yeah, they do. But like, it's what we go back to. It's like, Alex Pereira is at a point in his career where he's 35 years old. He wants to fight regularly, so it seems to me like Alex Pereira is kind of on like a 3-month turnaround. He seems to want to fight every 3 months. So based on 3 to 4 months, roughly. So if he's saying he wants August, and he's saying it 2.5 months in advance, you give him August. Like when you get to a certain level where you've taken short notice fights, and he took 300 at short notice, people forget that as well, or relatively short notice. When guys step up to the plate, you reward them. And Alex should get to choose what he wants to do. If Alex wants to go and fight at heavyweight, you let him do it. It's mad. Ulberg skips leg day. Ulberg is another funny one to me. What was it? What was he called again? Ladies' Night. Somebody said that in the chat the other day. I was like, "Ah, that sums that guy up. Ladies' Night. Yeah, he's a funny character. That guy. He's another guy with like zero mic skills. If I was Ulberg, I would just I would go out there, fuck guys up. I'd say the minimum amount of words possible, and I'd fuck off. I'd get the fuck out of there. That would be my whole thing. I would say the minimum possible and just beat guys up because this is gonna sound a little bit, no Jones, but he's a very good looking, marketable dude. He's got the knockouts to back him up. Just shh, like don't talk. Just shut the fuck up and fight. None of those it seems to be like a CKB trend. Great fighters, just weird personalities. The lot of them, they're all weird, which is probably why Volkanovski doesn't train there too much. These guys are a bit off to me. Like they're all weird guys. I kind of like Hooker a little bit. Like I was following his Twitter for a little while, and he's actually quite funny. But the rest of them are oddballs. That's the thing. No, this is it. It's not my plan. It's not my plan. This is what Ankalaev was asking for. Ankalaev was asking for Abu Dhabi. He said the words Abu Dhabi specifically, which, as we know, is not a numbered card. But again, because it's Abu Dhabi, it's slightly different. Like the Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia fight nights, they don't feel like regular fight nights. Like they're stacked more than fight nights are, for the obvious reason that there's money in the region. There's an extra bit of like everyone's licking Saudi buttholes these days. I was about to say rightfully so, but I'll go as far as to say that I get it. I get why they're doing it. So from the conventional standpoint, they're not regular. But if you're a champion, why the fuck would you want to fight on a fight night? Unless they're turning around and saying to you, right, you get an elevated pay, which I'm assuming there's some negotiation there. Why would you do it? Why would you do it? I think the whole pay-per-view structure is going to go out the window soon anyway. And that's another thing we've got a video on as well. We cover a lot of like topics that people don't touch on this channel. I think we deserve more credit for that. For sure. Yeah. I think Ulberg did get better. I do think he got better. Also, like people make a lot of talk about him losing to Nejaquani, but again, I watch every fight, and he was beating the fuck out of Nejaquani and just got gassed out trying to finish him, and then got clipped. It happens. You're a young fighter. It happens. Since then, he's been on a tear. And that's why I was so annoyed about the I think the matchup with him and Hill was better than Khalil, because I think that even Ulberg beating Alonzo Menifield is a better win than Khalil Roundtree's had in his entire career. I stand by that. Yeah, Eugene is a fucking weird guy. The thing is, there was a time when I used to like Adesanya, and again, it was before he started talking. Like back in the day when he was fighting like Brunson, and when he was first coming up, when he fought Brad Tavares, and then it was Derek Brunson. He didn't talk as much. He'd say the odd thing, but he wasn't corny. He would just say the odd thing and then he'd leave. And it was perfect. You don't need to have a personality in that way because you fuck guys up. Your in-ring skills are impressive. You don't need to start, just coming out with weirdness. That's what split a lot of the fan base with Israel for me. I think he would have way more fans if he was just quiet. So who else from CKB do you like? Because I can't remember a lot of the guys off the top of my head. Like even that French guy, Jusey or whatever. I mean, he's an annoying twat as well. He's an annoying git. Who else is in CKB that I'm forgetting? There's that guy who keeps getting fucked up. Oh, Blood Diamond. I just feel sorry for at this point. But mind you, again with Blood Diamond, like, City Kickboxing. Yeah, even with Blood Diamond, like he doesn't talk, but he can't fight either. So that's a double problem right there. City Kickboxing fighters. There must be some people. I've spoken about. Actually, I don't mind Dan Hooker that much. I've already said that, so I'm not going to go. Kai Kara France is another weirdo as well. But again, that's me being biased because I really love Manel Cap. Like I'm a big Manel Cap. Yeah, Dan Hooker is in CKB. Oh, you mean what's his name? Brad Riddell. I think you're talking about. Is Brad Riddell a lightweight? Brad Riddell's all right, but again, he's not really lifting up trees as a fighter, and we don't really see that much of his personality. And he hasn't really been around for a little while. Let's have a look who else. That's really it. You've got yeah, the rest of them are kind of unknowns. Certainly people that I don't know. They're all 3-0, 5-1, 5-1, 7-3, 8-8. Ooh. I'm surprised they haven't changed the locks for you, buddy. Yeah, but Brad Riddell's coming off 3 losses in a row to Renato Moicano, Jalen Turner. Oh, losing to Jalen Turner is a bad look. And Fiziev is not too bad. Jusei he looks like he's got some promise to him. But they've basically got Carlos and Shane Young. Fucking hell. That guy. I'm surprised they haven't disowned him. But no, Hooker I quite like. And at least with Kai Kara France is at least a very good fighter. So, yeah, Bulletproof. Who do you think is going to win between MVP and Gary? I don't know if we spoke about this before. Who do you like in that fight? I've kind of changed my opinion on that one. But I'll wait to see what you have to say before I show my hand on that one. I'm gonna play coy until I see what you have to say. Yeah, CKB. I find them all weird. They're all weird. I love how this live stream's gone off on a total tangent. Gary's very rangy. Yo, fuck Verona. He's changed his religion. He's what? He's changed his religion. What is he? Is he Muslim now? Or Islamic? I don't know the right way to put that. Manel changed his religion. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, I really had to tame that one down to get it. Yeah. The thing is, yeah, you shouldn't. Man, I realized the other day I went into my YouTube studio thing and I realized there were so many blocked comments from people, and I have my settings to allow any comment, but they blocked like 150 comments. Most of them were people calling me a cunt, but like I think you should be allowed to call me a cunt. It's freedom of speech. Do you know what I mean? If you think I'm a cunt, you should be able to call me a cunt. That's the way I see it. I haven't seen much of Gary apart from Jeff Neal. I originally picked Gary to win the fight, but I'm kind of changing my tune. Maybe it's because I just really badly want to see MVP smoke him. I think it would be hilarious. But the thing is that either way, if either of them wins, it's good because again they get pushed up. It's another welterweight contender. I think it would be better if MVP won because obviously he's what 36, 37 years old. It needs to be now or never for MVP. He needs to take the fast track if he's ever going to be a champion. And I don't think he ever will make it to UFC champion. But if he's ever going to have a chance, he needs to do it now. He needs to beat Gary, and then he needs to call out somebody like Jack Della Maddalena, and then try and skip ahead, and then maybe try and get the winner of Shavkat and Leon if that happens, or Shavkat and Bilal, God forbid. But Gary, yeah, like that's exactly what my thinking was. Gary's young. He would at 25, 26 years old. If he loses to MVP, he's still got several years to build himself back up. And also, I don't really like him. I mean, who does? So I want MVP to win. I think on every front, and that's the reason why I want to go to this card so bad. Like, or why I wanted to go to that, or I wanted them to be on 304, but 304 was already stacked to hell, and they're lucky they put it on 303 because god damn, to circle back to where we started, that card is in big trouble, big trouble. But no, fuck you, not fuck Manel. Manel's the guy. As soon as Manel went for, well, I've liked Manel for a while. I didn't first like him when he came in, but when he dropped the F bomb on live TV, I was like, oh my god, this guy's something else. That's when he took it up to another level. And then what made him just top of the heap for me was the press conference with Adesanya. I loved every second of that. I loved every second of that. It was so entertaining. And flyweights have no personalities. So this guy coming out and talking that much shit is just so. I just love it. I love it. I've got nothing but love for Manel. And I hope, and he is going to destroy Makayev. It's not the first time someone said fuck you to me today. To be honest, I've had a few already. I've been getting some next level abuse on Twitter over the last couple of I had one guy who a very odd little man. I think he was Turkish, and I think he may have popped up on one of the live streams we did last week. I disagreed with an opinion of his, and he started making like very homoerotic suggestions about me. And then he took a screenshot of me and said that I was what was the word again? It wasn't a retard, it was something else. Inbred. He said I was inbred because I suggested that he and his cousin were married. So when you call someone an idiot and then they go, "You're the idiot," and then they're like smiling to themselves like they just hit you with a sick comeback burn. But no, that was kind of entertaining. No, that was entertaining. So no, I'm used to the abuse. Yeah, if he finishes Gary, I could very much. I probably did like it. I probably did. I enjoyed it. It's like the first time somebody called me Ellen Page on this in the comments. I was buzzing for like a week. You know you're making traction or you're getting some attention on the internet when people start giving you personal attacks. It's the best thing. And my skin is thick because I don't give a fuck. Like I don't give a fuck. Like there's probably a time in my life when criticism would have upset me, but like I'm old now, man. I've been dissed so many times that it's just my skin is bulletproof to it now. So I don't give a shit. Yeah, if he finishes Gary, he could get a title shot because of the trajectory, especially if he sparks him out. I think Shavkat's probably going to get the title shot first, but Tom and Blades, how do you see that one going? I'll be honest, man. I'm one of the people who I do think Tom Aspinall is going to win, of course, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I actually think Blades is very good. He's another guy that I rate higher than most. I think he's good. Like I know he's been laid out by Lewis and he's been laid out by Ngannou twice. I think Blades is very good. Like, and I think it's going to be a tough fight for Tom. I think Blades has learned from those experiences. I think it's going to be Tom's toughest fight. And my worry is like if it goes too long because Blades' cardio is so good for heavyweight, and we haven't seen Tom push like that. Like if it gets past round 2, for example, I'd be sweating buckets in that situation. I think if Tom's going to win, he's got to get him out in 2. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about that because Blades will keep going. If you haven't hurt him, he will keep the wrestling pressure on 100%. I think he's going to be tough. I think he's going to be Tom's toughest fight. And he could end up being a massive spoiler because Tom's hype train is probably chewing the most right now. Tom's probably got the most. Nobody is really speaking badly of Tom's skill set. Really, everyone is kind of saying he's the real champion and he's the most well-rounded fighter at heavyweight, and he might be the best skilled heavyweight that there ever was, and all this, and nobody's disagreeing with that. So I think, and I agree with you. I think he has a better chance of beating Tom than Alex Pereira does, for sure. For sure. The thing is, like, it's if you get a 100% Tom Aspinall, I think he beats anyone. I think he's that good. But this is definitely a threat. I'm not like everyone else where I'm like, yeah, Tom's definitely going to beat him, and I'm not even sure what the odds are for that fight. I'm not going to be putting Tom on my ticket or on my bet slip. I'm not gonna. And I love Tom Aspinall. Like, I'm gonna do everything I can to get to this event, but like, yeah, I think it's gonna be very tough. I do think he's gonna win, but I'm worried. Because it ruins everything. If Kurt and we talked about this before as well. I guarantee you, if Curtis Blades wins, John Jones beats Miocic and then doesn't retire, does one more. I guarantee it. The bitch. Because he definitely doesn't want Tom Aspinall. And obviously, if Tom Aspinall loses to Blades, he'll just be like, oh, well, he wasn't that much of a threat to begin with. And then he'll wade his way back in, realizing I can get a few more fights for my legacy off this asshole. Has that fight been announced yet? Have they made it official? I think they have, right? It's in Madison Square Garden in November, I think, right? Is that right? UFC 308 or 307, I'm not sure. Let me have a quick gander. Forgive me for a moment. John Jones. Is the fight booked? I'm sure it was announced. Yeah, I can't see anything for it. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of you can tell me. I think it's 308, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on that. And again, I think it would be so hilarious if John Jones got chinned by Stipe. That would make up for a very dodgy year overall. If Jones somehow got sparked out, I would be overjoyed. Really, that would be another. It would be up there on the shelf with Strickland beating Izzy, Conor beating Eddie Alvarez, Leon Edwards head kicking Usman. Man, I nearly shit myself. I jumped out of my seat so hard that night. That was because I was literally like this, and then just when that head kick landed, it's like, oh shit. And it's not because I hate Usman. I don't. Usman's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I find the guy quite entertaining, but I gotta be the creepy lurker while I cook these trouts. You like trouts? I don't think I don't know if I've had. I don't know if I've. Nice to see you, P Brizzle. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the chat. I can't remember the last time I had trout. The last time I went fishing, I swear to God, I think I was like 9 years old, and it was in Ireland, and we caught mackerel, and there's nothing like fresh fish. There's nothing like fresh any animal. This is gonna sound really like fucked up, but when you kill an animal like just then and there, and you cook it and eat it, it's next level. It's next level how good it is, and that goes for anything. I'm not going to get into too much of that, but no, welcome, sir. Very happy to have you here. Alex needs to defend one more time, and they'll give him Garner. No, I think if he defends one more time, he's going to fight for the title at heavyweight. I think he'll fight for the title. It will be like a shot for sure. I don't think he'll have to do one to fight for the title. That's just my opinion. However, if he loses, that's a fight that we might get. Because then obviously he's then got to get. I can see if he just chooses like, right, I've lost the light heavyweight title. Say he loses to Ankalaev, maybe he just goes, fuck it, let's try and get a third belt because that's how I can secure my legacy. And then he takes one. He does the same thing that he did at light heavyweight. He fights a couple of heavyweights and then goes for the title. I can see him doing that. But if he beats Ankalaev, I reckon he gets a heavy. I reckon he goes for the heavyweight belt immediately after that. That's what I think comes next, for sure. That's what I go with. He's got so many options, and again, how can you turn the man down? Whatever he wants, you just give it to him. I mean, anything. Blowjob data, let's go. Whatever he wants, you give it to him. It's the same situation that Max is in right now. Like winning that, and Anton did a really good job, like bringing that up. Like he could fight for the 145 title, the 155 title, or he could fight anyone he wants for the BMF. He's in a great position. Is Charles the backup for 303? This is what we're hearing at the moment. We're hearing ripples that he might be the one who's stepping into be the backup to fight Chandler, which we did speak about this a little bit before. And Weston suggested that they should do it for the 165-pound title to add, because I think on its own, it's not enough to headline that card. It's just not enough. But if you said, hey, we're opening a new division, 165, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, you can. It's still not amazing, but like I think it would bring in enough intrigue to be like, yeah, do you know what? That might be enough to save the card at the last minute. I think. I mean, we're still some of us are still clinging on to the hope that McGregor's going to fight. I personally don't care. Like, I've been so bored of this fight. And the thing is, if it doesn't happen, I hope to God they don't try and book it again. If the fight is done, the fight is done. I don't want to see it rebooked. I just don't. Just kill it. I think McGregor in his heart of hearts doesn't want to fight again. I really don't. I don't think he wants to fight again. But yeah, to answer your question, I've heard that Charles could be the backup. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like, I would, considering how fucked they are, and they are fucked right now. The way things stand right now, they're crapping their jocks right now. They're probably phoning everyone to try and get something going. Because like I said, it's not just a numbered card. It's International Fight Week. I think if Conor doesn't fight, you put Alex on the card and you get Chandler another opponent. But if Conor pulls out, because he was the only really big thing pulling on the card, apart from Gary and MVP, you could say to a certain extent, those are the only two fights that people care about, really. I suppose some people care about Hill and Ulberg, but that should be a main card opener of a numbered card, that fight. I think if Conor pulls out, you need another fight, you need Alex, and you need a replacement fight for Chandler. I think you need both. And that's the game you play. They're probably all like, oh, Conor never pulls out. We've got that fight locked in. It's going to be fine. No. The guy has not fought in 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's, like I said, phone calls are going to get made. Because they have got egg on their faces right now. They are embarrassed. They need to do something to pull this out. They really do, because they've shit the bed hard on this one. And the thing is, someone's going to get paid. Like Kevin Holland sent a tweet out this morning saying, "Oh, I guess I'm fighting on 303 now," which I thought was kind of funny. It may get that desperate, where they just like Kevin Holland versus Alex Pereira. Man, it's going to get someone's getting paid though. Someone's getting a call being like, "We'll give you 2 million. We'll give you 3 million." to jump on this card. And the thing is, with Alex Pereira, I don't think they'll need to, because I think he would, for a decent amount of pay, he'd probably do it for a couple million and pay-per-view points. If you said to Alex Pereira 2 million pay-per-view points, obviously he gets them anyway. But 2 million flat fee, come and fight on UFC 303, he would do it. The question is, who would he fight? Again, it would probably be Yeri. We've talked about this at the start of the video. But is it big enough to save the card? Is that fight big enough to save the card? I don't think so. The people who, I guarantee you, they probably sold, these tickets were probably so expensive. And anyone who's bought a ticket for that event is like, oh fuck. There's going to be people wanting refunds. There's like, it's going to be fucking, there are probably people that have prepaid for the pay-per-view, the $80 or whatever, and they're like, I want my money back for that shit as well. Seriously. Utterly pissed. $4,000. The thing is, yeah, I said that I'm willing to pay whatever it takes to get to 304. If it's $4,000, I might have to pass, because I don't trust them anymore. Because if I pay $4,000 and then we lose even one fight from that card, I'm going to be fuming. They're going to be scrambling, because it does affect their ability. I mean, they're going to sell tickets anyway, don't get me wrong, but I guarantee you for this one, because the card is so mid-level, and now it's basically low level with McGregor off the card, there's going to be people who are like, phone calls are being made, especially when it gets confirmed. Give me my money. Yeah, I mean, Tom Aspinall is a major reason why I'm going to that. But I'm of Irish descent, so like I'm not like I don't just follow British fighters for the sake of it. Let me have a quick look at the card just to remind myself of 304. Leon Edwards is somebody that I want to. I mean, I hate Bilal Muhammad, so I'd love to see Leon Edwards fuck him up. I love Arnold Allen. I love Manel Cap, as I said before. I don't like Paddy Pimblett, but the aspect of seeing the prospect of seeing him get beaten up by Bobby Green works for me. I like Nathaniel Wood. The Nathaniel Wood Daniel Pineda fight is a great fight. I like Christian Leroy Duncan. That's about it. It's a good card. It's a very good card. It's a solid 8. A solid 8 on paper. Yes. 4,000 is Connor card money. 300 was 2,000 per. Yeah. The thing is, yeah, for me, it wouldn't be 2,000 because I obviously have to go. I'd be taking someone with me. So I'm paying 4. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't want no nosebleeds. If I'm watching the event on a big screen, I'm staying at home. That's the long and short of it. So I'm gonna have to see what happens tomorrow when I log in for the event. Because like I said, I haven't bought an event recently. I've said this before in a live stream. I am going to the Bellator event in Dublin, but you can still buy tickets for that now. They are an embarrassment. But I paid like $200 for a seat that's relatively near the cage. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be watching the UFC on my phone while I'm at the Bellator event. I'm not even joking. I am 100% doing that. How do I see Leon and Belal going? I think Leon's going to beat the fuck out of him. That's what I think. I think it's going to go very similar to how the first fight was going. I respect Belal as a fighter. I really do. Like he's a bit boring for me, but he's very, very effective. He's hard to deal with. I just don't think I don't think he's got anything that can trouble Leon. Like Leon's takedown defense has improved. Leon's a terrible wrestler, but he's played things so smart. And again, it's something that I've said in previous videos. He doesn't spend the entire time in the gym being like, right, I'm going to become this elite wrestler. He just says to himself, How can I stop them from taking me down? And he just isolates a wrist. He makes sure his IQ is very good in the cage, and his striking is way better than people give him credit for. He's an elite striker. So I think Leon is going to piece him up, and then Bilal's going to be going for his legs the entire fight, and he might get him down once. I can see Bilal maybe taking 2 rounds. I think it's going to go 5, obviously. But I think Leon's going to do enough to win 3 out of 5 rounds. I think it will be a clear, like, what is it? 48-47, I think is what it would be in a 5-rounder. I think that's what it's going to be. I think it will be 3 rounds, Leon will win clearly. Then in one of the rounds, it will be sort of like, either of them could win, and then Bilal will win a round clearly. That's how I see it going. I do think Bilal will get him down at some point, but Leon's he's very difficult to do things to on the ground. I mean, look at what happened with Kamaru. Kamaru got him down and smothered him, but he didn't really hurt him down there. He landed a couple of ground and pound shots, couldn't find a choke. And Leon's a very good fighter. Again, some people find him boring to watch. I don't. I find him I like Leon Edwards. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's very well-rounded and very underrated. He's not, like I said, he's not the most exciting to watch from the conventional sense. Like, he's not knocking people out, but that isn't the only way to win a fight. It's not the only way to be effective. And I just think he's outside of the only person I think you can fuck with him at welterweight and could potentially beat him is Shavkat. And that's what we're going to get next, I hope. That's why I want him to beat, because if Bilal wins, who do we really want to see him fight? That's the problem. It's not just because I dislike him and I think he's boring. It's like, all right, who are you going to put him against? Shavkat destroys him. JDM is like, all right, fine. Like, nah, it would be horrible if he won. With Leon, you've got the prospect of Islam coming up and fighting him. You've got the Shavkat fight. Yeah, Shavkat's fighting JDM. I think he's going to beat him. I've spoken about JDM a lot on this channel, and because you're kind of, I'll say the same thing to you that I said to them. I think JDM is really good takedown defense, and I think his boxing is incredible. His body work is just a beautiful thing to watch. I'm a very big advocate for body work. I love when fighters dig, that dirty digs to the body. I love it. The problem I have with JDM is when you actually get him down, he's fucked. Like when I saw him against Basil Hafez, and Basil Hafez struggled to take him down, but when he got him down, he could not get back up. And I think Shavkat will get him down. And once he's got you down, he's choking you out. And he's beating you up when you're down there. And I just think he'll wear him out. Like JDM was, in my opinion, losing the fight to Gilbert Burns before he dug it out of the bag. I feel very strongly about that. I thought he was losing. So I don't like his chances against Shavkat, but it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting fight. And Shavkat, as we know, he's had 16, 17, 18 fights, whatever it is. And he's never gone the distance in any of those fights. That's scary. He's probably my favorite fighter right now. Or the guy that I think is the most, the guy that I'm very sure is going to be a champion. But everyone, pretty much everyone and their mothers have that opinion. So, yeah. You think Leon is too slow, P. Brizzle? He certainly fights at a certain pace. I wouldn't disagree with that. He's not, but that's the thing about Leon. There's a lot of things that's underrated about him. I think he's relatively active in there. I think he is. I think he's a good fighter. Like I have very high, very, very high opinions of Leon Edwards. And again, it's the IQ that he has that I appreciate more than anything else. It really is. He knows his style is very, very difficult to deal with. He's a very strong guy. His cardio's very respectable. And like I said, he focuses on the things that win him fights, preventing the takedowns, sniping people at range, and again, varying his attack points as well. So, he's the kind of guy who will mix things up. He'll go to the leg. He'll go to the body. He's not a headhunter. I think people who headhunt in the game now are so primitive at this level of the game. I think when you get to a certain level, you've got to be able to switch stances at will, and you need to be able to attack from everywhere. And you need to be relatively good with both hands. And I think Leon has that. Yeah, I think right now, until we see, and again, Shavkat looked, the Neil fight gave everyone a little bit of food for thought because Neil gave him some problems. It's a great fight. But yeah, to answer your, sorry, that was such an elaborate answer. I think Leon beats him. And I hope Leon beats him because God, I don't want to imagine a world where he doesn't. I don't. I'm going to have, there are so many receipts out there of me giving it to Bilal at every given opportunity. So it's going to be a rough weekend for me. Like if Leon loses, if Tom loses. Well, to be fair, I've been pretty complimentary of Curtis Blades all the way, so there'll be less so on the Tom side. If Manel Cap loses, oh man. Like if I imagine I pay 3,000 a ticket or whatever, so I shell out 6,000 and I go to that event and Manel loses, Leon loses, and then Tom busts his ankle in 12 seconds like he did in the last one. I will be devastated. This is a to be honest, I would much rather because like, did you see Bilal's tweet when he said something about he says to Islam something like, what is it? Oh, nah, go up and fight. What did he say? Go up. He's basically said something about, oh, he'll beat Trickus if I get the belt. Let me do me for a few fights, beat a few young guys, and then you can come and fight me. I thought that was so pathetic. When Islam's blatantly like, nah, brother, I'll fight you tomorrow. Like, Islam doesn't give a shit. Islam would fight Bilal. Bilal ain't the homie like that. Bilal might be in the gym, but he ain't a brother like that. He's a brother in Islam, but he ain't a brother in the gym. You know what I'm saying? He is an outsider wherever he goes. If he thinks for 1 second that Islam wouldn't take that fight because they train together, he is a fucking idiot. Strickland is a fraud. Nah, man. Again, I've been going at people who so do you think that I'll ask you this. I'll ask everyone this really. Let's just pop this up here actually, just so if anyone else pops in, we can keep the conversation flowing. I'm gonna make this. Let's put that up there. I should have had this prepared, to be fair. Yeah. So should Strickland get a title shot after beating Paulo Costa instead of Israel Adesanya? Because it seems like it's going to be one of those two now, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy that, like, I mean, I know Cannonier's been off for a while and nobody gives a fuck about him, but technically the wins that he's had and everything, he should be in contention still. And it's not like he's also got a fresh. He beat a 40% Izzy. I think that Adesanya spent a week. He had a week of not sleeping, and he was rewatching the MMA Guru's videos over and over again, and just thinking about how am I going to go to this press conference and explain how I've been sticking my finger in my dog's arsehole. That's what he was thinking. The thing is, yeah, I can't do a poll on Restream. I don't know how to do it. This is something that I need to work out. And I'm not in my YouTube at the moment. I can't open my YouTube on the same thing because it will echo. It's something that I need to figure out. Actually, the next time I get Antoine in here and we do a live stream, I'm gonna have to work out how to do a poll through Restream. because I have no fucking clue how to do it. And I've looked through the settings because we were gonna do a poll at 302, and everyone was begging for it, and we were like, we just couldn't do it. I can't log into my YouTube at the moment. Give Strickland to Brendan Allen. Wow, you really dislike him. So do you think that Israel Adesanya deserves a shot over Sean Strickland? I'm assuming you do. Are you saying not only is Sean Strickland a fraud, but Israel should be definitely getting a title shot? That I'm getting that vibe from you. I have to be honest. I'm definitely getting that vibe. I am definitely getting that vibe. So you think that Adesanya deserves a title shot after losing to Alex and then beating Alex? So he got his immediate rematch. I'm just going to be repeating what other people have said, but fuck it. It's such a valid argument that I have to bring it up. Then he loses to Strickland convincingly. Whatever you want to say about Strickland being not 100% or not, he had 25 minutes to do something in that fight and he didn't do anything. And then he takes off what's been, I don't know how long he's been out for, a while for him. And that he should get a title shot over Strickland, who lost by the narrowest of margins to Dricus to lose the belt. A lot of people thought he won. I personally thought Dricus won, but I'd say probably 60% or more of the fan base thought he got robbed. And then he goes there, and I know he teeped Paulo Costa to death, and it was a horrible fight, but that was as much Paulo Costa's fault as it was Strickland's fault, because Paulo let him do it. And if, like I said, if you're going to put me in a cage with somebody and you're going to say to me, right, you can teep for 20 minutes or 25 minutes and get paid and walk out of there without a scratch on you, the crowd are probably going to boo you, or you can have a war and get brain damage. I know what I'm choosing. I'm teeping that motherfucker and walking out of there to the booze, and I'm flipping the crowd off while I'm walking out, cashing that check. That's what I'm doing. Fuck the crowd. But that's a weird argument to make. He did lose to Strickland, and he lost very, very badly. And the thing is here, remember, the reason why that fight happened with Strickland is because he demanded that Dricus get into the cage with him 6 weeks after he had a very tough fight with Whitaker and got injured. So he basically set that. He's like, no, I'm fighting in 6 weeks. I'm fighting in 6 weeks. So Strickland was supposed to be a layup for him. Nobody thought Strickland was going to win that fight. Strickland was supposed to be a gift-wrapped present from the UFC. But that's on him, though, as well. If he wasn't 100%, he should have pulled out. If he was injured or whatever, and he wasn't injured, I think it was more of a psychological issue. I think the MMA guru won him that fight. Won Sean Strickland that fight. I think the dog accusations and all the rest of it, when that came out, I think he was like, oh shit. Because he was rattled that entire. And the fact that as soon as he loses, he goes over to Sean and he's like, I didn't touch my dog. I didn't touch my dog. That's just my friend. Was weird. He was clearly but that's the game though. That's the game. Like nobody had sympathy for Aldo when McGregor took him on a 2-year tour of abuse and then knocked his head off in 13 seconds. It's psychological warfare is part of the game. It's part of the game. Coming from what's ITP? Nice to see you, Aaron. Nice to see you. It's AIDS right now in here too. We're talking bare bullshit. What's ITP? I don't know shit about anything, man. I'm so retarded. I am so retarded. What's ITP? Yeah. Who you got? Izzy Strickland in the rematch? I've got Sean Strickland, but I will tell you this. I kind of think that Israel beats Dricus, though. I think he beats Dricus. And I talked about this in a previous video before as well. I just think that Dricus's style is tailor made for somebody like Adesanya. And um, I actually picked Ezra Adesanya to be middleweight champion by the end of the year. Because at the very beginning of the year, I did a prediction of who I thought was going to end the year as champion. And I picked Adesanya to be middleweight champion by the end of the year. It's really good to see you, Aaron, by the way. I've seen you around as well. Because I kind of show up in I haven't seen Musical MMA's live streaming for a while. Is he still active? What's going on with him? Maybe I'm banned and I can't see him. I don't know. But I haven't seen Musical MMA pop up. Um, I'm still live in I still jump into like Dougie's chats and other people's. I think Izzy has a much better chance to beat DDP than Strickland. I do. I 100% agree with that. Oh, Musical has been busy with work. That's what I'm saying. I don't get surprised when people block or ban me. So I'm like, I consider that to be a possibility, but hopefully he's doing all right. Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you on. Hopefully he's fine. Anyway, yeah. So if you're active with him, hopefully he's all good. I hope to see him back soon because I miss his live streams. They were chill as fuck. But yeah, Aaron, I agree with you 100%. I think Izzy's style is very very suited to Dricus. Very suited to Dricus, and I think because Dricus is the kind of guy who, he lunges in a lot, moves forward. It's gonna be a tale of two fights. Either he's gonna drag Izzy down very easily and pummel him on the ground, or he's gonna dive in trying to do something, with a hint of the ism, and he's gonna get chinned out. I think the likelihood that, and I'm leaning more to that. I think Dricus is gonna get flattened out, and all the Izzy fans are gonna come out in mass, and it's gonna be a horrendous it's gonna be a horrendous month on Twitter after that. So yeah, I'm fully behind with you on that. Let's see what we got here. Hang on. Oops. I think he also hasn't been so interested in streaming. The thing is, yeah, it's tough. It's tough, isn't it? Like, I stream once in a while, and I do live streams every now and then or watch-alongs. They're a chore. They are a chore. It's difficult. Like sitting there for 6 hours, 6.5 hours on end, and expecting to just, be able to come up with things to talk about for that amount of time is hard work. And when you're doing it every night, that's hard. Maybe he just needed a little break from the game. And I'm sure when he comes back, everyone's going to be ready and waiting for him for sure. I think Hamzat is going to be added to. Now, there's an interesting question. This is a question that we should be asking as well. Yeah, I want to hear what you guys think about this. Hamzat or Robert? Hamzat or Robert? I'm interested to see what people think about this one. I've got a few opinions about this as well. Let's go back to the chat. Hang on. DDP overextends a lot and can't afford to do that against a proficient striker like Adesanya. I agree. And as much as I dislike Adesanya, and I do, I think he's a douchebag and a weirdo. He's good. He's really, really good. And again, I just think the style aspect of it is perfect for I think Dricus is a very bad matchup. Or Adesanya is a very bad matchup for Dricus. I hope I'm wrong, but I predicted it at the start of the year for a reason. And I genuinely think that's the way that it's going. Musical's been doing good for himself. I think he's been working a lot on weekends for festivals and stuff. Yeah, I've seen a few of his live streams when he's done, because he operates in Brighton quite a lot, and that's actually not that far from where I live. So yes, it's man, he's got some balls doing that stuff. I wouldn't have I barely got the balls to be doing this, let alone performing in the street like that. That takes some real guts. So man, props to that guy. Hamzat either cracks Robert or loses a decision. Just my hunch. That seems to be like that's the kind of the conventional way to go. I kind of feel like it's the obvious thing to say, but I feel like Hamzat's got to get him out of there in the first 7.5 minutes, or he's fucked. But again, you said Aaron's. It's can you survive that first round? And the way that Whitaker looked against Dricus, yeah, I've got my concerns. But again, I think it's the right move for Hamzat's career. Can you do a 5-rounder? And he's looking. The thing is, he's looking jacked right now. He's looking jacked. The thing is, though, Bulletproof, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I thought that he either lost or drew to Usman, and I thought he beat Burns, but boy, he made that way harder than it should have been. I think Hamzat is flattered to deceive, and I don't. Again, Hamzat's another guy that people think that I hate, and I don't. I just say it how I feel, I say it how it is, or how I feel. I think he's overhyped. He's been very inactive, and his gas tank is horrendous. It's horrendous. So I don't know. I don't love that for him. I think yeah, if Robert Whitaker can navigate that first 7.5 minutes, I think he's going to be good to go. But the question is, can he get that far? Because Dricus beat him in 7.5 minutes. So if Dricus can do it, you'd imagine that Hamzat probably can. Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me as well. It all there's it again with two skilled guys like that. It very much depends. It's a tricky one. Obviously, for the division, it's much better if Hamzat wins that fight. I think it's much better if Hamzat wins that fight because, if Whitaker wins again, I like Robert. I don't really want to see him in the title picture again. He got obliterated by Dricus, and while I think he did win the second Izzy fight, I've moved on from him. I don't really want to see it anymore. Hamzat presents a whole new. The one problem I have with Hamzat though, can't fight in the US, which is a big problem. It's a massive problem. So do we really want to have a champion who's both inactive and can't fight in America? I don't love it. You'd like to see Rob try welterweight again. Oh, he's way too big for that now. He's way too big for that now. I think it's going to get to the point where in a year or two he's going to struggle to make middleweight. He's a big dude. He's thick. Yeah, I don't think Hamzat versus DDP is must see TV. That would be an interesting matchup. I don't know who I'd take in that one. Dricus is a weird one, yeah, because with him, I literally feel with Dricus, every fight with him is 50-50 because of the way he fights. And it just so happens that so far, the coin has landed on his side. He the thing is, yeah, Rob's not like heavy. His walk around weight is not heavy from what I understand, but he's just very thick with it. He's got a lot of he doesn't have a lot of water weight. It's muscle weight that he's carrying now. So I think he would die going down to 170. And in him talking about it, the losses that he's had at 170. Think about the guys that he's been starched by at that weight class. He had some bad losses down at welterweight, and that's when he was younger. And I remember him. I think it was Nate. It wasn't. Was it Nate? What was his name? Marquardt. I think it was Marquardt was doing an interview after Whitaker lost at welterweight, and he was saying, "Oh man, I don't cut weight anymore. I'm fighting at the weight class up, and it's just so much better for my career. I'm coming in there fresh. I can go into training camps, and I don't have to worry about cutting weight. I can skill build." And Whitaker was like, "This is the turning point for me." And then obviously he went up to middleweight, and I don't see him going back to welterweight. I don't think he could even make it. I don't think he could, because he apparently getting to welterweight to begin with was such a struggle for him, and his career was going off a cliff at welterweight. He was on the verge of getting tossed from the UFC entirely before he moved up to middleweight and turned it all around. I can see your reasons behind thinking so, because middleweight's kind of, I feel like he's the kind of guy, because he's had so many. The UFC don't really love him because he doesn't really sell anything. Do you know what it was with, funnily enough, the reason why I found out about the struggling with the cutting is to bring up Weston's guy again, Mixed Molly Whoppery. He did a video on Hamzat going through Murderer's Row at welterweight. And that's where the thing about Marquardt came up and his struggles at welterweight. That's where it came from. That's how I found out about it. So yeah, I think it would just be rough for him. I think it's that would be a tough one. He tossed Strickland like a kid. DDP is so physical. I thought DDP won that fight. I really do. But again, with DDP, it just feels like that clink. It's like every time he goes in there, it feels like a coin toss just because of the way he fights. And whereas with Adesanya, I don't think it's going to be that coin toss. I just think it's going to be he's going to overreach, as you said, and he's going to get chinned. And I'm going to be very sad to see it because I like him and I hate Izzy. There, I said it. Hamzat versus Yuri is a good one too. I think Yuri's too big. I think Yuri's way too big and got way too much tism. I think Yuri would beat him, quite honestly. Because the thing is, if Hamzat's gassing at middleweight with that bigger frame, imagine what he's going to be like at light heavyweight. He's going to have like 30 seconds of cardio, carrying around that much bulk. Now, Hamzat, I don't know what it is with Hamzat. It must be a genetic thing, or it must be the way that he fights. So he's either got to be less explosive and less going for the kill early, he wouldn't be Hamzat anymore if he did that. Or he's or like, but I know you say Yuri walks around at 210. For me, that's an advantage though. That's what makes him even more of a problem because he doesn't have to cut much to get to 205. So he wouldn't be drained. Whereas Hamzat would have to bulk up even more, and then you've got the cardio issue. I get what you're saying. I mean, we're gonna see a lot from Hamzat over the next this is a make or break year for Hamzat. He's got to beat Robert convincingly, and then he's got to take his chance at getting a title shot and then win that convincingly. Because then it's off to the races with him. Because he's popular. Loved or hated, he's popular. People want to watch this guy. So the next 6 months for Hamzat Chimaev is going to make or break his career. If he loses to Whitaker, you feel like it might be over for him. This is the fight now where he needs to. I do think he will win. But I can. Again, you probably ask me the same question next week, and I'm like, nah, Robert's gonna win. Hamzat's gonna retire Robert, by the way. I think Robertson. I think that's more. It's more because of Robert's age. Hamzat switched camps. Where's he switched to? I didn't hear about this, or maybe I did, and Where did he switch to? It's very rare that I get caught off guard not knowing something because I'm such an MMA genius. I know everything. Or I just have so much time on my hands that I just absorb every piece of MMA news that I can get my hands on. I did not know that Hamzat had switched camps. The whole Hamzat situation is very, very bizarre. He switches. Oh right, yeah. Oh, well, that doesn't sound. The whole Kadyrov thing, him associating with Kadyrov, I know that he's his countryman and his leader and whatnot, and he's probably has no choice but to associate with him. But I swear he like, isn't it true that he like left his region to go and live in Sweden because there were some issues and whatnot, and then he just blindly walked back into there. I mean, Kadyrov's probably a fun guy, behind the Kadyrov behind the closed doors is probably a fun-loving, like, fun guy to be around, a good lad, so to speak. But I don't know, man. He seems to have just his career has gone off the rails since he's been publicly seen with that guy and publicly associated with that guy. Yeah, the fact that he's such a big star and and Dana has had such pull in the past and they can't get this guy into America is very, very telling. It's very telling. Take the gaze back to Canada was cold. Was that a Sean Strickland quote? It sounds like it. Yeah, yeah. I used to live in that region. I lived in Qatar for a couple of years, and the no taxes thing is fucking fantastic. You get a nice salary, and the yeah, getting no tax taken off you at the end of the month is a thing of beauty. I cannot advocate for that style of doing things enough. But no, that's interesting. Sweden was having problems with Muslim immigrants. Yeah, yeah. No, that was Kadyrov looking up. Kadyrov said that. The fact that it could have been a Kadyrov or Sean Strickland quote is just funny. The thing is, yeah, I'll be honest, yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm knowledgeable about. I kind of stay away from politics quite a bit because I just can't be fucked. I can't be fucked. For me, it's just a whole load of talk about stuff that we have no control over. So I'm not like musical MMA and I did politics when I was in university. It was one of my core subjects, and I just became disillusioned with the whole thing. So I keep myself involved with um certainly macro politics as much as I possibly can. If it affects me in my immediate area, that sounds selfish, then I get involved. But outside of that, I don't really pay too much attention to what's going on. I'm a selfish prick. What can I say? But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know Kadyrov is obviously a lunatic, but um, you're a poli sci major. I love doing like so. Basically, I did politics as and we had like the local MP had recently been fired, and he became our lecturer, and he would just come in like half cocked, like drunk off his head, and would just be talking shit. Like he didn't stick to the syllabus whatsoever. He just talked shit for an hour. It was very entertaining. Like I enjoyed his lectures a lot, but we didn't really learn that much about what what we should have been learning. It was mostly just his drunken ramblings about how you shouldn't vote and it's all a waste of time, and he'd tell anecdotes about what it was like being in parliament and whatnot, and very entertaining, but it certainly turned me off. Certainly turned me off. What's next for Kamaru? This is a good question. Kamaru's in a very strange place because he can't make any traction at welterweight while Leon's the champion, because even if he wins against somebody like JDM or even Shavkat, it's very hard to justify him getting. I think what he's praying for is he maybe hopes that Bilal wins, and then he can get a fight in between. So that would be the thing for him. If I would, and then also he can't go up to middleweight yet until the Adesanya thing's cleared out, because those two are little butt buddies. And I think Kamaru's probably just thinking to himself, if he can't go for a title, what's the point? So I think that's why we haven't seen him too much, or we haven't heard much what's going, because he's sort of caught in limbo at the moment. I think for him, he should just take a fight like I said, Shavkat and JDM are already booked up. He's already fought everybody else at welterweight. If I was him, I'd go up to middleweight and fight somebody like a Strickland, because he's beaten him before at welterweight, dominated him. That wouldn't be a bad fight, because they clearly don't want Strickland to get a title fight. And maybe it's a fight that Strickland wants to get back. You could do Strickland and Kamaru, and then if things don't pan out with Izzy or Izzy loses, that could be a path to get to the belt for him. So yeah, I think the long and short of it, I think he needs to stop sucking Israel Adesanya off and go up to middleweight, because welterweight, the path to getting back to where he wants to be is way too long. And I can imagine for him, as somebody who's been collecting, I mean, he defended the belt how many times? He's been getting those fat checks. So I imagine his checks don't look that good. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe, as Aaron's saying, maybe he should hijack the JDM fight, or should hijack the Shavkat fight. You should try and hijack and fight one of them, maybe. But again, I just think for welterweight, what do you do then? He beat Shavkat. Does he get Leon again straight away? I don't know. I suppose you could do that. But I felt like this. I felt like it was technically their third fight, but Leon's defense. I felt that fight was so conclusive. I don't think a lot of people would sign up for that unless he absolutely goes in there and looks amazing, batters one of them. You could justify it. Strickland. Bulletproof, you are hilarious, mate. The fact you think that Strickland needs 2 more wins, but you're willing to give Adesanya one now, is crazy to me. You're very much entitled to your opinion. Um, but I mean, like if you were making the case that Strickland needs to fight again, but so does for me, the winner of Hamza and Robert should be getting the title fight, or better yet, Izzy should be fighting the winner of Hamza and Whitaker, because I don't think Hamza necessarily deserves it either. Because I mean, he scraped through a win against Kamaru, which I actually thought he drew or lost. He hasn't fought any top middleweights at all. He's been so inactive. But I guess if he starches Whitaker, you can make a case. I don't know. Strickland doesn't get, but he's effective though. He's effective. The winning in UFC is not all about finishes. There was a time when Kamaru never used to get finishes. He just used to grind people out. You know what I mean? Maybe Kamaru fights the winner of MVP and Gary. Not a terrible option. You laugh, yeah, but I wouldn't mind that. I don't think he would mind that as well. I don't think he would mind that. It's not a terrible idea. I would go for that. But Kamaru is definitely in a weird place. He's definitely in a weird place. But I definitely don't agree with you with the Strickland viewpoint. I don't think you need to finish guys to be considered in contention. He barely lost to Drickus, man. So many people thought he won. And then he takes the Costa fight when he shouldn't really. I mean, he's fighting number 8 when he's number 1. Like, why? And then he goes and, well, it wasn't the most exciting fight in the world, but he applied his game plan on him. Costa couldn't do fuck all about it, and that matters. And Izzy couldn't do fuck all about it. And Mavov couldn't do fuck all about it. There are so many fighters that come up against Strickland that can't do shit about him. I know you slept during Costa's fight. To be honest, I was half asleep by the time we got there. I mean, we might as well talk about that as well. Like UFC302, like fuck me, that card was horrendous. I genuinely think it was the worst card of the year, up there. I'm not just talking about fight night. I'm talking all cards. Like, I'm not shitting on the Makachev and Poirier fight. That was a great fight. But up until that point, every fight on that card was awful. Awful. The fact that Jailton Almeida was the standout before the main event, and then Kevin Holland winning in like 45 seconds was the highlight of the card up until that point. It's just, that card was dog shit. And I said it was going to be dog shit. I got so much heat for that. I loved UFC 301. I loved UFC 301. I enjoyed that card. The 2 cards I've probably enjoyed the most this year, just based on, I'm not saying they were the best cards, but just from the feeling I got throughout the card, the hype, was 301. I enjoyed that card. Like, it just had, there was something about it. The crowd was amazing. There were some really good finishes in the card. Obviously Aldo coming back and doing his thing was amazing. And the main card fight, or the main event was a great scrap. And the fight in Louisville, whatever. The Derek Lewis card. I hate saying Louisville. I know it's pronounced Louisville, but whatever. St. Louis. That card was just so exciting. And I actually had COVID at the time, and I was like bedridden, and I still found that card so exciting. So exciting. I loved it. So those were the 2 cards that really, but there have been some really great cards this year. It's just, the UFC's just been moving retarded the last year. Just the way they've been building up cards, the way they've been behaving in general has just been really shit. Yes, yeah, it was a really great for a fight night. And I think part of what it was, the crowd for that card was unbelievable. I don't know about you guys, but if I go to a live event, I'm arriving for the first prelim fight. I don't understand how people are paying so much money for these cards and then they're turning up for the main card. At St. Louis, everyone was in their seat from the very first prelim, and it showed. The crowd were going mental, and injects something into that. When you've got an atmosphere like that, it does something. And it clearly, the fighters were on something that night. That card was sensational. There were one or two boring fights in between, but you're always going to get that. You're never going to get a perfect card. It's very rare. Now, there are very few perfect cards in UFC history, but that card was special to me. The crowd, and it's like what you said, like it's like what you alluded to, Aaron. The fact that the expectations probably weren't that good because it was a fight night, and it didn't look that stacked on paper. But boy, did that card deliver! I love that card. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like they can't be trusted anymore. You just can't trust them. It's because them. And the thing is, yeah, again, this is another video I've got coming out soon, or actually tomorrow, where boxing has kind of owned the UFC this year. Certainly in the last 3 months or so, they've made an enormous comeback. The UFC's got lazy, and this is why we need competition. This is why I get so pissed at Bellator all the time, or PFL, whatever you want to call it, because the UFC doesn't really have to try anymore. They can just pump out very mediocre cards, and they know that people are going to watch because it's really your only option, or it was. But now you've got sick boxing cards that are willing to go up against them. I mean, they put the 5x5 Matchroom and Queensberry card against UFC 302 essentially. They didn't put it at a different on a different day. I mean, I know it basically ended during the prelims, but they essentially took them on, which was, yeah, man. Hopefully that will shove a fucking lightning rod up their ass. Literally all champs outside Tom and Leon don't have any fights booked for the future, and there's so many top contenders and title eliminators to make. You're right. I think like this is the thing. Towards the end of the year, we're going to get a lot of people back. I mean, Alex is going to fight every 3 months anyway, so we don't have to worry about him. But Ilya, we get back around September, I guess. John Jones is back in November for whatever the fuck that's worth. Don't even get me started on that prick. I imagine with Leon, the thing is with Leon, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he beats Bilal. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't see him again for the rest of the year. It really wouldn't. We'll get Dricus and Izzy in Perth. If that hasn't been booked already, which I think it basically has, we'll get that. We'll probably get Max and Ilya, like I said. We'll get who cares what happens with Pantoja? That division is just, I love flyweight fights, but we need Manel Cap to beat the shit out of Makayev, and then for him to get into contention. Yeah, I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll overly stack it and then they'll bug themselves for 2025, the beginning of 2025. They just need to learn how to be more patient and spreads things out. So wait, if y'all don't think Izzy deserved a title shot, then who should he fight? I think he should fight the winner of Hamzat and Robert Whittaker. That's who I think he should fight. And I think Sean Strickland should get the rematch against Dricus. You're going to hate me for that. You're going to hate that. You're going to hate that opinion, but he's been active and he barely lost the title. And again, this is the perfect point. Maybe, in fact, it should have been Strickland versus Hamzat, or Strickland versus Robert. You took the words right out of my mouth, or I took the words right out of yours. I think I just got in there slightly before you. It should have been the fact that they made Strickland fight. It's because they don't want him to be champion. Putting him against Paulo was a really stupid idea. If Robert wins, then that's the trilogy. Again, I don't know what you think, Aaron, as well, or what the rest of you think. I thought Robert Whittaker won the Izzy rematch 3-2. I thought he got robbed. Maybe robbery is going a bit too far. It was more like a bad decision than a robbery. But I thought he won that fight clearly 3-2. Izzy's fighting for the belt. Izzy's going to fight for the belt. Because the thing is, yeah, it's like what loads of commentators have said, like, the fight with Dricus is massive. They've got all that racial tension. They've got all the you know, that they've got history and we haven't seen that fight yet. He's going to get the title shot 100%. Like what should happen and what will happen is obviously going to be different. They're definitely going to give Izzy another shot, like whether we disagree with it or not. And the thing is, the one thing I will say, and like while I don't agree with you, Bulletproof, that he deserves a title shot based on the last three fights he's had and the fact that he's been off, and also the fact that other contenders have been more active. When he was champion, he was very, very active, and I have to give that to him. You know, he was fighting every 4 months on average, 4 or 5 months on average. It felt like Izzy was fighting all the time. But also, I will say this: he fought when the situation suited him. So he was always trying to make fights when their opponent was at their most weakest. And trying to book that Dricus fight on the card when he fought Sean Strickland was a blatant example of that. He was clearly trying to catch Dricus cold and unprepared. And then he ended up getting Strickland, and then the MMA gods gave him a right slap in the face for that. So you can you can flip the narrative any way you want it to, depending on who you favor as a fighter or who you favor as a personality. So even though I don't agree with people's opinions about whether Izzy should get a shot or not, or whether Sean should get a title shot or not, or whatever, I respect everybody's opinions, because at the end of the day, the game is so fucked up, and it's all about like opportunity and just taking it when you can. Yeah, they tried to do DDP dirty. It was 100%. And then the fact that so many people came out, first of all, yeah, if Dricus had come out and said, it's in 7 weeks, I want more time to prepare, nobody can shit on you for that. You've beat Whittaker. Nobody thought he was going to beat Whittaker, myself included. He beats Whittaker. He should be able to say, right, I need 12 weeks or so to need a little bit of rest time. He won, but like he took a few licks in that fight as well. He should be able to say 12 weeks from now, I'm ready to go again. He shouldn't be saying, right, you're fighting for the title in 6 weeks against somebody who seemed unbeatable at middleweight at the time. And then when you say, it shouldn't have even, but the fact he was injured as well, the fact that he got so much shit for that just shows how fucked up the MMA fan base is and how cliquey it is. There's no common sense in MMA. Like, I'm willing to say, do you know what? Sometimes I make nonsensical things because of people that I don't like. Like, if I don't like somebody, I'm the same way as everyone else. But I try to see as much common sense as I can and be like, do you know what? I don't like this guy, but I like this guy, but you try to look at what's fair for the sport. I'm a purist at heart. That's the thing. And with the Adesanya thing, the whole thing's convoluted, man. It's out of control. Like, but I respect everybody's opinions as long as you can back them up to some extent. I might not agree with how you back them up, but as long as you can back up your point to some extent. Why is it crazy? Why is it crazy that we think Izzy can't call shots if he doesn't have the belt? 100%, and that's the point. Izzy called all the shots when he had the belt. He picked the time, he picked the place, he picked the opponent. So now that he's the champ and what do they say, when the boot's on the other foot? You need to play by the champ's rules. But the thing is, Dricus is going to give him that fight because he knows it's a money fight. And he thinks he can beat him as well. Like, I don't think it's crazy at all. I think the fact that we've seen, people might not like Sean Strickland, but outside of Alex Pereira starching him, when have you seen Strickland get destroyed by anyone really at middleweight? His style was very difficult to deal with. You might not like it. Izzy had 25 minutes. He had all that tape on Sean Strickland, and he was in there for 25 minutes with him. He took Sean Strickland because he thought it was going to be a walkover. He thought that he could just keep the distance, leg kick him, do what he does in every other fight, and that it was gonna be a layup for him. And he got burned for it. You think Strickland looked at Izzy's fight style and thought, I know, I'm going to do this to him. Strickland fought the exact same way against Adesanya that he does against everyone else. And Adesanya couldn't deal with it. You can say that Adesanya, like he was compromised that week because of the whole dog wanking. The dog jerking situation. But again, as I said it before and I'll say it again, mental warfare is part of the game. And he picked that fight. He wanted that fight. His coach was calling for that fight. It was all part of their plan, and it blew up in their face. So you thinking that I think it's crazy that Strickland could win a rematch? I've got 5 rounds of seeing him piece Izzy up to go on. You're going on, well, Izzy's the better fighter, so he must win, which is exactly what got Izzy in trouble in the first place. And exactly, Strickland is a far different. He's far different than Alex stylistically. I know it's a cliche thing to say. Styles make fights. It's just the way it is. How many times have we seen this guy beats this guy, who beats this guy, who beats that, but then they can't. We've seen it countless times in MMA. I know that he's the only one. I know he is, but again, let's look at the facts here. He lost in kickboxing to him. What was it, twice or was it 3 times? I can't remember. I think it was 3 times he lost to Alex in kickboxing. It might have been twice. He lost in the first match. And then in the second fight, he was getting Alex Pereira made a mistake. He got overzealous. He thought he had him hurt and he got caught. It can happen to anyone. Izzy wasn't clearly winning that fight up until that point. He wasn't. And again, look at all the fights that Izzy's had. The fight with Yoel Romero was awful. The fight with Vettori was awful. The fight with Cannonier was awful. He's had some awful decisions where, and again, when Adesanya does it, kicking at the leg, kicking at the leg, kicking at the leg, he gets called a tactical genius by people. And then the same people that say he was amazing and so tactical for doing that, they watch Strickland do a very similar thing to Costa, and they say, oh, he's boring, he's shit. Nah. Common sense, people. Just try to have a blanket opinion for everyone. Israel Adesanya lost as clearly to Strickland as you can. He got bonked in the first round, bonked out, and then, bruv, I was watching that fight. The whole time I was watching, because I had that fight to finish out a parlay to go over 2.5. And I'm watching the whole time thinking, Izzy's going to bang him. Izzy's going to bang him. The whole time I was thinking that, and it just didn't come. Because he couldn't adjust to him. And he said the same thing after when he was all humble after the fight after he lost. He was like, he was the first person to come out and say, I couldn't do anything. I don't know what to do. And he was saying, my corner were telling me to do this and I couldn't implement it. The way he was fighting was just, I couldn't deal with him. That was the real answer you got. And again, it's the situation that he asked for. But yeah, like I said, Bulletproof, I get where you're coming from. Like I do. And you're not the only one who has that opinion. You're really not. But again, you say Izzy fought Strickland too soon. He's the one who set that date. And he set that date because he wanted to catch Dricus cold. That was the whole point. He wanted to catch Dricus so he could say, right, like, my best chance of beating this guy is... I mean, he probably thought he could beat him anyway, but he elevates his chances of beating him if he makes him jump in there 6 weeks after he's just had a short but difficult fight with Whitaker, where he took damage and got injured, by the way. So he tried to stack the deck in his favor. And his coach after that was the one who came out and said they asked for Strickland. So you can say he probably did fight him too soon. He wasn't injured. And he thought he was getting the best matchup he could get. And he got egg on his face. Pure and simple. Everything that happened to Izzy was a result of him playing the game the way that he wanted to play it. And again, I'm not saying that Izzy could not beat Sean Strickland in a rematch. I'm not saying that. But based on what I've seen, I think Strickland would win. And I don't think that's a crazy opinion. And I don't think I'm the only one that has that opinion. I think a lot of people agree with that as well. But I've also said to you that I think Israel beats Dricus, which says it all, really. It's the Styles thing. And I'm thinking as well that maybe the time off for Adesanya will do him good, because he was like very, very active, especially he has every incentive to be active, being a champion. Every time you're picking up pay-per-view points, they're stacking the card for you. You're the UFC's golden boy. He made retirement money in that 2.5 years or 2 years he was champion. So let's not act like he didn't get his as well. And like I said, they also gave him a goddamn chance to be double champ as well, very early into his reign. He's been given every advantage and every opportunity, and the UFC clearly is behind him. So he can't complain when he handpicks his opponent when he wants it, and then gets dominated. It was a great night for me. I was so happy that night. I was so happy that night. I really was. Yeah. Again, it's true. Again, he's been their golden boy for years. He's been their golden boy for years. Like it felt like he was handpicked as soon as he walked in the organization. It's like, yeah, this guy, he makes the TikTok videos, he's got the young crowd behind him, all that stuff. They've been grooming him to be where he was for. Volk wants to fight. No, you're kidding me. Has that just come out? I think Volk. Oh, Volk, I don't know. Because Chandler, I mean, skill for skill, it should be a no-brainer. Where is this coming from? Because obviously, because I've been on here for the last, I've been on here 2.5 hours. Let me have a look. More Twitter abuse, I imagine. By the way, if you are active on Twitter, I'm on the same handle. I'm actually very close to getting 1,000 followers, and I'm very active on there as well. Let's see. Oh, that's a 6 Sean Strickland tattoo. I mean, I would never do that. That's homo as fuck, but hang on. I'm not seeing anything about Volk. Are you playing with my emotions right now? I don't think Volk should take that. If Volk lost to Chandler, I would cry, I think. I'd be doing a live stream and I think I might have a meltdown. I think I'd have a meltdown in front of 6 people. So it wouldn't be that bad, really, would it? A meltdown in front of you degenerates. It's not really going to be life ending, is it? I'm not going to be suicidal the next day. Let's see. The thing is, yeah, like Volk and Chandler would. I know we were talking about options earlier on. Volk might be the one person that you could make that the main event with him and Chandler. Do that for a 165 belt. That'd be fucking sick. I think Western hit the nail on the head. I think they need to just. I think because they're panicking so hard now, it might force them into a 165 corner. Should be great. I've been calling for that to happen for so long. Yeah, no, I would love to see. Yeah, cheers, Aaron. That'd be great. I mean, the thing is, I don't really care about Twitter followers, to be honest. I cared at the beginning, but well, for about 3 weeks, and then I'm like, this place is a cesspool. But I am still pretty, because I'm a scumbag as well, so it's a perfect place for me, like slinging shit around. Yeah, we talked about this at the very beginning of the stream, and Weston was actually the one to bring this up, because to be honest, I didn't even consider it. I did not even consider it. But if you've got a card that's in the mud as much as, I don't think there's been other than when, I mean, there's probably been one or two situations like that, but generally, I don't think a card has ever been in this much trouble, like these circumstances. Like, or it would be up there in terms of a card that's been the most in trouble in certainly in recent memory. So they need something big. And there are a lot of people that are really keen on seeing a 165 belt. Yeah, don't worry. I gave you credit. I gave you credit. All right, Ikram Eliskarov. I think this guy is. I'm not sold on him yet. He's fighting somebody new coming into the organization, right? I know his fight got cancelled. There was a point when, by the way, yeah, there was a point when I know they were going to do Aliskerov and Fluffy Hernandez. I think Fluffy Hernandez would have. I don't know what you guys think of Fluffy Hernandez. I'm the biggest Fluffy Hernandez dick rider out there. I think that guy is the man. I think Fluffy Hernandez would have fucked Aliskerov up and he would have choked his ass out. Get off me, dog. Here's the thing, man. It's like we've got so many lurkers in here. It's very hard to tell. I don't know why people just like listening to me. Aaron, you and I feel like I feel like you and I have had pretty much identical opinions throughout this entire stream. You're my guy. I like people who agree with me or not agree with me, but have the same opinions of me before I utter them. Yeah, Fluffy's the fucking man. Like I mean, I liked Fluffy, and again, I've said this before. I liked Fluffy for a while. I always thought he was underrated, but it really kicked off for me when he beat Rodolfo Vieira. He was like a minus 400 or plus 400 underdog, and just out dogged him. And then since then, he's just been on a tear. And I also made a prediction in my because I did a video at the start of the year as well. I did my who's going to end every year as champion video, and but I also did the dark horses of the year, and I said that Fluffy was going to be top 5 by the end of the year. It might be a tricky one now, but I think I can see. So ITP MMA, I need to check this. Let me check this out. ITP MMA, because that's the second time I think you mentioned it twice today. Let me see if I know what the fuck this is. ITP MMA. Oh wow, In the Pocket. I have seen this around. I've never. Is that the right one? I'm gonna subscribe so that I remember I am subscribed. Let me see this here. He has a live channel. So does he have 2 different channels? Is it ITP MMA and does he have a different one? So it's the right one, right? It's In the Pocket MMA. I'm sure he's going to be delighted to get my subscription. I'm sure he's going to be over the moon. This is the one. Fuck, hang on a second. I just linked it, you cock. But I know you did, but hang on. Because I can't click on the link in my own chat. That's how retarded this thing is. I think you guys can, but I can't. Hang on, let me open up a link on here. Let me see if I can link on it here. Yes. Oh, ITP MMA Live. Gotcha. Consider me subscribed. It is stupid as fuck. Do you know what? Yeah, the thing is, yeah, I like Restream a lot because there's a lot of fancy things on it, but there's so many. You can't do the same things as you can when you do. It's not the same thing you can do, like when you're on YouTube Studio Live. But then there's downsides to using that as well because you can't, for example, have the chat in here. You can't, you can't highlight a chat like this. For example, you can't shift the screens around and add little captions and things like that. So it's, it's a gift and a curse. Oh, this guy's got the beanie as well. Sweet beanie guy. I might have to check. I'm always looking for new people to because I'm just a man. I can't when it comes to MMA. I just can't help but just soaking everything up. I cannot help myself. It's an addiction. So yeah, is there anything else you guys want to talk about while I'm still here? Because it's like 2:00 in the morning for me. I was literally planning on jumping on here for like an hour, but time has just melted away. And by the way, I'm very grateful to every single one of you for Musical says he's a sex guy, won't watch anymore. A sex guy? What does that mean? Isn't everyone a sex guy? Or maybe I don't know what a sex guy is. What is that? See, I'm like being an old bastard now that's planted my seed in all kind of soil patches, if you know what I'm saying. It's not really that interesting to me anymore. I'm not really that inclined that much. I've just been jumping from stream to stream until musical starts streaming again. Yeah, no, musical. I love musicals. I love musicals live streams. They're very chilled. I used to really enjoy sticking them on in the evening just before I was going to bed because they're just a kind of good thing to wind down to. And the community there is pretty cool. Like I like them. I like them. There's some interesting folks up in there. But like you guys are awesome because like honestly, the fact that you're without you guys, these live chats are dark to do. Like I never wanted to do live chats because it was just a nightmare to me to think like, oh, I'll just start up a live stream and then I'll be in here by myself, talking to myself. And it would just be it'll be a fucking disaster. But it really means a lot that you guys turn up. It really does. Like the fact that I've been here for 2.5 hours and it hasn't felt like that. Fucking off is probably a good idea. I'll probably hang around for another couple of minutes and then book because I do have some stuff to do tomorrow. As fun as this has been. But no, I really appreciate it. And we have covered a lot tonight. There were a few other topics that I wanted to talk about, but I don't think I can be fucked. So let me see what I had on the docket. Yeah, I had. Oh, this is one I want to talk about. This is one I want to talk about before I go. Who should replace Mike Tyson? I don't really want to talk about this little fucktard, but not Mike Tyson. I don't really want to talk about Jake Paul, but before I head off, because I did release a video about this today, talking about who I wanted to replace him. So check that out. I have stated my opinion on it. What do you guys reckon? Who do you want to see Jake Paul get fucked up by? I mean, who do you want to see Jake Paul fight? Or maybe you don't give a fuck, which is fair play. I respect you for it. This was a good one, to be honest. I caught 8 fresh fish. Bruv, you're King Kong. Oh, that would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. Yeah, to be honest, man, you've like Weston, you brought up some childhood memories for me. I might have to go fishing soon. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I'm not into the whole like influencer stuff either. I haven't really watched anything along the way, but because it was Mike Tyson, I felt like I should have an opinion on it. I was so disgusted when that fight was made. I was sick to my stomach when they made that fight. So yeah, I can't. In a way, yeah, I concluded in my video that I wanted to see him fight his brother because I hate both of them. But I hate Logan Paul slightly more. I say hate, I mean I don't really care about them that much, but I just think it would be funny to see him get laid out because he's such an arrogant tosser. And I genuinely think he's evil. And I don't throw that word around that much. He probably does wank off a lot. I'm sure he doesn't. He probably has plenty of people to do that for him, but he is a tosser. What do you do for work, Aaron, if you don't mind me asking? What's your profession? Because I was very interested in what Weston does, and like same for anyone if you feel like sharing your sharing parts of your aspects of your life. I think that's a really important part of building a community on here. The censorship is crazy on YouTube, bro. I can't tell you how many videos I've had. The annoying one is when you put a video up and it goes through the copyright checks and it says there's no problem, and then the next day you get a message saying it's been copyright struck. Because I don't make money on YouTube. Like I had the option to monetize like 8 months ago, and I was like, nah, because I don't want adverts in my videos, and I want to be able to say whatever the fuck I want to an extent. Yeah, I know you do tree work. I know you're a tree surgeon. I think is what we decided it was. I think at the time, which I was very interested in. In fact, the first time I learned about you doing that was it was me, you. Do you remember when Dougie was first doing live streams, and it was just me, you, and him, and we were just chatting bullshit for like free. I can't even remember what card that was on, but we were in the live chat just talking away. I tutor and teach guitar piano right now, so I usually listen while I'm looking back on what I have to cover for the kids I'm teaching. Sweet. Um, yeah, I used to. I mean, not that anybody gives a fuck, but I did teach. I did some degree of teaching as well in my past. I was in education for like 10 years at various levels. So I did like I taught I taught primary all the way up to university at different stages, and then I was like head of a department for a while, which is why I sound like I've got a fucking stick up my ass sometimes. It kind of surprises some people that I used to be in that because I'm very immature, as you can probably tell. But that's what happens when you spend the early part of your career hanging around with 10-year-olds. Man, that sounded so. I wish I hadn't said that. Fucking hell. You know what I meant, or did you? I hope you did. Snobs here call it an arborist. That sounds way more snobby than a tree surgeon. An arborist sounds very grand. Like that's a grand title to have. It's the kind of thing you could say if somebody asks you in a bar, like, "Oh, what do you do?" and you go arborist, and they're like, "What's that?" Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, that sounds good. Like teaching music is great. Like I used to be a fairly decent musician in my younger days. I played violin and flute. I'm sounding more and more fruity by the minute. I need to stop talking. I need to stop sharing so much. These things are going to come back to bite me on the ass down the line. It's like, oh, you played a flute, do you? Fruit cake? I'm going to be finished. I'm giving so much ammunition right now. Fuck it. Oh, so Aaron, are you a student as well? Yeah, you're quite young then, yeah? Man, I didn't get that impression from you, buddy. You seem pretty mature. Whereas Western, it could go either way, eh? Western could be anything from like 14 to 60. I can't get a read on you. I'm joking about the 14. See you later, brother. See you later, brother. You're 21. Wow, man. Fucking hell. That is crazy. That is crazy. I miss being 21. I am 40 years old this year. I'm an old cunt. I'm an old cunt. I mean, fortunately, people still say I don't quite look my age, and I can't grow. I mean, I still haven't hit puberty. I still can't grow a beard. So another thing I shouldn't have shared. Why Islam doesn't want to accept Nina interview? Oh dear. I wonder why. I wonder why. We made a video about her too. It was one of the best videos, best performing. I got fucking roasted for that one. Oh my god. I basically implied that she was like a talentless bimbo, and I got fucking roasted. There were people coming out acting like like those guys who's like they act like they have a shot with her, and they came out to defend her in droves. I literally called her a talentless bimbo for about 10 seconds, and then I was quite nice about her towards the end of the video, but you know how most people just look at the thumbnail and then they just go in on you. Yeah, the name is. Imagine how that interview would go down. Were they all like 14? Bro, with the internet, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. But it was a lot of people coming out saying, "Oh, she's so talented. She's really good for the game." What was it? I'm a hater. Was one of them. Oh, I'm just jealous because I could never get her. Was another comment that I got. I'm like, I mean, she's hot. I did say she was hot during the stream. Um, I basically said, she's a talentless bimbo, but I would bang her, and I think that's a fair comment. I think that's a very, very fair statement to make, and I'm not the only one who's thought that, and I won't be the last person to think that. Like some of her segments, I think are kind of funny. Like the when she gets fighters to rate each other, I thought that's quite creative. I quite like that. But it's the same thing. It's like with the reason why I'm a bit like, and again, I said this in the video that I made about Nina. The thing that kind of bothers me about her is when she first came into the space, she clearly didn't know that much about MMA, and it felt like she just got big out of nowhere. And I compared her to that woman Bobby Ansarov, the one who interviewed Drake. Like she was basically a nobody, and then out of nowhere, she's interviewing everyone under the sun. I'm just like, who's this bitch? Like, it's just the plant factor. And you've got people in the game who have paid their dues for years and years, and then this hottie turns up, not knowing what the fuck she's talking about. Oh, Sewer King's the man, bruv. I jumped on Sewer. In fact, Weston, I think you recommended Sewer King to me when he had like 600 or 700 subscribers. Sewer King is hilarious. If you haven't seen Sewer King, check that motherfucker out. That guy is very funny. And what I love about Sewer King, he spends a lot of time answering. And thing is, yeah, his comments section is huge now. He spends a lot of time answering his comments and interacting with people. I've got like a little inside joke with Sewer King about being Eskimo brothers. Because I jumped on his stream very, very early, and I think Weston, I think it was you that recommended him. How do you feel about what Tom Aspinall said to Nina? Couldn't give a fuck. I thought it was kind of funny. Sewer King cooked her. He made a video about Nina? Oh man, I'm gonna be watching that before I go to sleep. 100%. I thought we cooked her fairly well as well, but I don't know if you watched that video. There's no way that I cooked her as badly as he did. That dude, that guy doesn't cook. He flame grills, man. He destroys people. I could never ever hope to reach the levels of cookery that man does. I love everything about him. The outfits and stuff that he wears. I just love his whole style, the way he like strikes stuff off when he's going through things. That dude is the man. That dude is the man. And the thing is that I love the way he plays up to how the fact that he's such a, because I think he's like 125 pounds, right? Nah, that guy is. I thank you for recommending. I'm pretty sure it was you that recommended him. Yeah, if you haven't seen Sewer King, if you're in here and you haven't checked out Sewer King, go and subscribe to the guy. He's pretty big now. What's his? I haven't watched a video of his in a little while. What's his subscriber count like? Let me check. It must be massive. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on like 25,000 or more. Sewer King, 32,000, bruv. He's been around for how long? He's done 43 videos. And look at me with my 280 videos, and I've got like. He joined May the 12th, 2022. He's just been doing it been doing it 2 years. But I think his first video didn't come out until last year. He's the man. I love Sewer King. No, I'm gonna be watching that tonight, 100%. I love the Sewer King. He's fantastic. I think I'll let it get to 3 hours and then I'll book from that. I think 3 hours is way more than I was expecting. It's 3 times more than I was expecting to go. I'm gonna do this more often though. I think especially while musical's not around as well. I think I'll jump on and do, because you lot are fucking hilarious, man. I'm loving this. This has been really fun. I'm really glad I did this today. Yeah. So now I'm going to check out that Sewer King video. To be fair, Weston, you've got a very good what's the word? You've got credit in the bank from me, because usually when you recommend something, it's tight. Tough is on in like 40 minutes. Man, fucking hell. Tough upsets me. I don't know why they had to do Shevchenko and Grasso. Tough has gotten shit as well. It's basically what it's going to be is there's going to be it's going to be videos of them coming to and from the arena in the buses. There'll be very few interactions with them training and doing stuff. There'll be no drunken antics inside the house and people breaking down and having meltdowns and any of that. It's going to be fucking dog shit. Is what it's going to be. Tough as shit. And the thing is, there's so many opportunities they could do with that. Of all the personalities you've got there, they haven't got it right for years. I mean, think if the fact that that Chandler and McGregor was awful as well. I mean, Chandler's a wet wipe with no personality. It is just, and I'm convinced, I've said this multiple times as well, I'm convinced that Chandler has got some skeletons in his closet. Like, nobody is that squeaky clean. Like, one day there's going to be something come out about him that's going to be dark. I'm convinced he's going to get caught doing something real questionable. I'm going to say there's definitely, he's a weird guy. Yeah. That's the thing. Do you know what? Yeah, tough should be a thing where it serves a purpose. Like if they're tough would be a great one if they were like introducing a new division. Like, they need to have a women's atom weight division, for example. And I hate women's MMA. I genuinely do. But like, atom weights, the atom weight division they have in one is spectacular. And if you guys know of Stamp Fairtex, some of you will, some of you won't. She's very entertaining, and that whole division is real fun. So it should serve a purpose like that. It should be like, right, we bring it in for. That's the thing. I get that, but contenders. The thing is, contender series. I love contender series, but even that's got an element of, like, you get a sob story, then you get a fight, then you get a sob story. It feels like American Idol, but you get fights. So I'm just glad that you get fights, but the whole thing's corny as well. Like, when they do the whole, did you get a contract or not? I know it's very entertaining. It's just a bit corny to me, but I do love it, and I'm looking forward to it coming back. You need to get to fishing. Clean streams are where it's at. I live right outside. I have a lake right in front of my house, which is why we bought this house. Like, my lake is my house is literally, there's a lake virtually on my doorstep. I get swans and ducks and all kinds of shit coming up onto my front lawn every day, which sounds great, but they shit everywhere. So fuck them. And swans are beautiful creatures, but they're very violent. Like, they're aggressive. They're very aggressive. So, but yeah, I've got the means to do it. I could literally go out tomorrow morning if I had a rod and get to it. But I'm definitely going to and do you know what? Yeah, Weston, I'm not a bullshitter. I would, I'm surprised they didn't cut that. You know what? I don't watch Lucas Tracy too much, but I did watch on this. They've taken down all of Conor McGregor's. They always do like free fights on YouTube before a fight is due to fight. They've taken down all of Conor McGregor's videos that they put up. So I think it's a guarantee that he's out. Lakes are okay, but brook trouts out of running water are choice. Brook trout. See, I'm learning all kinds of new lingo. I swear to God, Weston, I'm not a bullshitter. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So I will catch you up on that. And the thing is, the weather's amazing at the moment as well. So I'll look that up. Brook trout. I'll look for my local brook trout, and get to work, because I would love to do it. Do you go by yourself? Yeah. It's one of them solitary endeavors, going out and fishing. But yeah, Aaron, you're 100% right. Tough needs to mean something. It can't just be a we'll get two women who have no personality, and we'll get them to coach men's middleweight. Maybe it was welterweight, whatever. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't think I could convince anyone to I don't think I could convince anyone to come with me fishing. But I spend a lot of time alone anyway. So I'm like I'm all good. And I can do what Dougie does and just whip out a stream if I get lonely. Clip that. That's another soft comment right there. I don't get fucking lonely. Yeah, but I'm definitely gonna do it. The ugly stick rod Okuma is real. 6 to 8 pounds braided. Wow, you sound like you know what you're talking about for real. Talk to your local fisherman and get educated from them. I'm getting educated from you, bro. I don't know if I'll be able to find a fisherman around here. Mind you, I do see people come out on the lake sometimes, so maybe I can just go and harass someone. In England, the going up to strangers thing's a bit weird though. You might get your ass kicked. It's that kind of place, you know. Yeah, but no, I'm definitely gonna do that. It sounds. I need a new hobby because MMA is controlling my life. I need to do something else with my time. I do play the odd video game every now and then, as you can tell from my background. Got a bit too much going on. If you see the guys at the taxi, I don't even think there is a tackle shop. I'm starting to get more of an image of where you live. See, I do live in like a small town now because obviously I moved here having like different priorities in my life. I'm no longer a young man that's out of an evening. I'm usually in bed at 10 with a hot mug of tea or go bass fishing just for fun. So you're gonna have to tell me, yeah, what the best entry level thing for the fishing is. What I should do at entry level, because I imagine my first few visits to go out fishing are going to be discouraging. I'm going to be sat there, but apparently the catching stuff is a very secondary part of it. It's sort of just like it's about the solitude and just enjoying the nature. And maybe that's bullshit. I don't know. Maybe I'll be sat there for 2 hours catching nothing, and I'll get fuming and go home. Unlikely, but I do like the water, and I like the solitude. So that would be cool. I'll definitely give that a go. You've inspired me to become a fisherman. Do you have the gram? It would be easier to. Thing is, I do have Instagram. I'm not very active on there. I just don't like the setup. I don't like the way it's set up because obviously you have DMing obviously, but it's very different the way that it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like. I think it's the interface maybe that bothers me. I'm more of a Twitter guy, but I do have an Instagram and it's the same handle, so you can try and hit me up on there. Um, Hopefully I'll catch it. But if you add me on Twitter, I'm active there all the time, having arguments with 14-year-olds who call me, what was the last one? Inbred. And then made comments about how there's Aaron Tats, there's the boy. Um there was some doo-doo. Let me see what the direct quote was. He said something about your lips are so thin because you've been sucking dick for 20 years, which I thought was very odd. All I said was like that I disagreed. I think I disagreed with something like I think I said Adesanya is not going to beat somebody or something like that. Or I said no, Islam would lose to Leon, and he was just like he found me on YouTube and then was like, your lips are really thin because you've been sucking dick, and you've got what was it? You've got your face looks like you're inbred. Was the exact Twitter's an amazing place. Twitter is an amazing place, and that's not the worst barrage of insults I've had this week. I can tell you that now. 1 hour until tough. People are getting excited. Yeah, try and hit me up on both. Add me on both because you are the man. I've got like, yeah, my Twitter's getting quite like I've had tweets on there that have had like over 1 million views. So I have managed to get a bit of traction on there. I sound like a clout goblin right now. That's not really who I am, but it's quite exciting when stuff like that happens, especially when you're new to the game. That's the thing. And the thing is, yeah, the guy who was like, thing is, yeah, I don't mind people dissing how I look because I don't care. Like I've got a hot significant other, probably hotter than I should have, and like I said, personal attacks don't really bother me. But it's when it's people who, yeah, same handle both places. So it's at Bantam and Mimaf. Like, so when people attack me for how I look or how I sound, and they have like a profile picture that's like, I think this guy had a profile picture of like, it was whatever fighter he likes, and he's height like, I'm just like, fuck you, man. Whatever. Like, if you're gonna diss me, have the balls to show your own fucking face on there. But as you said, it's clearly a 14-year-old kid who's just a bit of an immature prick. No, I like Twitter. I do. I get enjoyment out of it because I'll occasionally just jump on there for like 20, 30 minutes a day, and because I've got enough followers now, I'll occasionally post like the YouTube videos on there and stuff. And I'm hoping if it gets to the point where it's just a way to communicate with people who follow you that you've got a live stream in case they don't get a notification on YouTube, which happens often. I've had a lot of people who I'm like who have followed me for a long time. Like Mikey's one of those people. He's not here today. You know Mikey Weston. And he said he doesn't get notifications on my videos anymore. So it's like, that's why having Twitter is really helpful. You can just post it in there, and if there's certain people who want to be part of the live streams, you can just contact them directly, which is great. So now I appreciate the follow, Aaron, and I'll definitely keep. It's been really fun talking to you guys. Honestly, thank you so much for contributing to the stream. I know I've said this already, but I really appreciate every single one of you. And hopefully I'll see you guys again the next time I do it. I probably won't do one tomorrow, but I imagine I'll do one before the end of the week. I've got another one planned with Making the Walk, and I think Dougie and I we've got something planned coming up as well, which is always fun. I love doing stuff with Dougie. You're gonna see, bruv. I'm gonna go and look through it now. If you look through mine, I have had the most petty 72 hours that I've ever had on Twitter. It's got fucking nasty with some people, real nasty. But no, I appreciate you, Aaron. Thanks for sharing your opinion. Same with you, Weston. You're always solid. To anyone else who's still here, much love to all of you. Have a great one, and yeah, I'll catch you for the next one. I'll message you on Gram now, just FYI. I'll quickly pop that up. I'll just acknowledge that I got it from you, just to make sure you got the right person. Because there is a guy impersonating me on Twitter as well. So I said it's all fucked up, and on Instagram as well. There's more than one bad Mimi math, and he stole my logo as well, the prick. All right, I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the fish in Western and the fish. Guys, much love, really much appreciated. I'll catch you all soon.